Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. Let's see the thing that says it hears me. Let me see if I can hear me, and we'll get started momentarily. Motoko was down here demanding milk. She was actually using the word. Usually, she'll say something like gilk, Gilk, or something she made up recently, ning. I don't know how ning means milk, but it does. So we'll roll with it. Uh, so 2 shows in a week. Yes, exactly. Hello, Zachary. All right, so I didn't actually invite the other hosts, so let me get them in here, and then not necessarily get them in here, but invite them in here, and then we'll get started with a couple of cool articles I found. This one here, and then yes. Oh no. Oh, yeah. So Motoko is recovering from COVID. Yes, I know, milk. But you spit it out. So you're not yet at the testing gravity phase. Hmm. And anyway, so she's recovering from COVID, and she and my wife tested positive. I got something that did not show on any of the tests, so don't know what that was. We happened to be through the town that the president got his at, and I wonder if it was just a super hot spot and we didn't know it. But all right, so I've sent the invite off to them. I've got an article pulled up. I wanted to get Marcus on, but I sent his invites another way, so bear with me. Really? Okay. I've got a fast way to do this. Stand by. Sorry, guys. Um, she woke up right before the show started. She was sleeping just fine, and then she was not. Had a very full diaper, which is unique because she doesn't let them get full, and she starts screaming and freaking out. But that didn't happen this time. Baby, you can't put this in your mouth if you keep looking away, huh? Okay, no more milk. She's gonna start crying in a minute, so we'll fix that as we get to it. Ah, almost there. Sorry, guys. All right, so text message. And let's see. Yeah, Eddie had it too. He came back from a conference and he had it, and I tell you what, it's not comfortable. All these people, it's just a cold, blah blah blah. No. All right, there we go. Got Marcus, and let's load up this first article now. So I'm in a different browser than typical. I'm hoping that we'll see a stability difference. We'll find out. If we don't, then I can just go back to the old one. What I'm also hoping is, since this is just the beta of the typical one, that I'll find my switch tabs button come back. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, look at you! She's sticking her tongue out on the burp rag. Like this. Say hi, everybody. Say hi. I know you like to say hi. Hi and milk are the only words she can actually say, and they're both at her leisure and her pleasure. So not today? Okay, that's fine. Let's get into the news. Sorry for the long startup. Let's see, where's my share button at on this one? Share screen. Yeah, I understand I'm sharing my screen. That's why I clicked the share screen button. You want more milk? Okay. It's not milk. Mm-hmm. She said, I'm the boss. I said, it's what I want. All right, so unlock permissions, fingerprints. Allow this app to share the screen. Quit and reopen. That's not what I want to do. All right, here we go. Be right back. Check, check, 1, 2. All right, and let's all unmute this one. Hit live. Okay, we're back. Yay. Yes, you're saying milk. You've got a nipple full of milk. What more do you want? Screen. Back to this. So as I was saying, I didn't write down in my notes why why I picked this one. So we'll pick it apart together, see if it's good or garbage. And then I told you this whole story about the notes I did make under this article were about how to keep a baby fever down and and how she can't spit, so she doesn't like the cherry children's medicine, so she would just shove it out, just blah, 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 while looking you in the eye very defiantly, which is doesn't feel good. So let's see. They were talking about how old modern EVs are. Back to GM's EV1 in the 90s. They're saying how the new one can go quite far range. This one I read, so I just need to see it to figure out why I was including it. This we all know as EV owners and hybrid owners is that your battery capacity is going to vary based on how you load it up, your environment, your tires, your temperature, the weather. This also affects fossil cars, but there's so much waste in a fossil car that most people don't. They don't actually pay attention to it, except for those of us that were on the hypermiling side. You got a lot more of it now that the price has become unobtainium, but yeah. So they're saying that according to Musk, they should be 300 to 500,000 miles, and also according to Musk, we're looking at a million-mile pack real soon, and I think that might include the 4680 structural packs because when you look at how those are assembled, they don't appear to want to do any maintenance to them, which shows you a little bit of confidence with it. All right. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to point out while going through this is that, well, first let's finish with their summary. Let's see. The high mileage old Model X, this is 2016. Yes, this is as far back as you can go with a Model X. According to the impact report, your Model X should retain at least 90% of its capacity after 200,000 miles. All right. I didn't read that part of the impact report. I do know they're warranted for 70% of their capacity for 8 years, unlimited miles on the old cars, and now uh, 8 years, 150,000 miles on the new packs for the same up to 30% degradation. So 70% original capacity. And with that, I wanted to point out all the numerous taxis and other commercial Model X's that are out there that have well over 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 miles to date. Uh, that's not to say that you won't ever have to replace the battery prematurely. My Model S had a battery swap at 50,000 miles or so, but it didn't actually need a swap. They just needed to repair a component. They didn't tell me what component, and because of the inconvenience of where my service center was to my location at the time, and the wait time, etc., they went ahead and did a battery swap instead. I got a new battery. When they gave it to me, they said, "Hey, here's a loaner. Bring it back. See you in like 8 weeks." They didn't know exactly when. By the time I got home, 4 hours later, they're like, "Yeah, just keep it." I was like, "All right, close that one out." So let's see. I'm gonna try open a new tab and see if I get the switch tab button on this browser. No, I don't. So let's close this. Okay, yes. And then next. Oh, okay, great. I should have left that tab open. The next one's a private Facebook group. Um, so I'll extract the article and the comment, and then we'll come back to where you guys can see it. Yes, sweetie. Yeah. Hmm. All right. I get my code generator out because I'm in a new browser. Sorry about this. There we go. There. Yeah, really? He says it's good milk. but we knew that. You're such a noisy eater. All right, so next up, we're talking about us. Oh, this one I really wanted to see how you all would react to this. Uh, the in the group that I found it in, the reactions were not pleasant. And let's see if the articles hadn't updated since we found it. All right, so GM is offering a $5,500 discount on Cadillac Lyric for drivers willing to be tracked. But it wasn't just the tracking that got these people riled up. Uh, they also have to sign an NDA saying they can't talk about their experience with the car. All right, so that's in the first paragraph. Okay, so exclusive group of Cadillac Lyric buyers are being offered a considerable discount if they agree to sign an NDA that will restrict who they can talk to about the car and about the car with, and will let General Motors track how they use the vehicle. And so in the group, most of the people said, that's not worth that discount. It's not like it was half off or free. That might change things a little bit, but they didn't want to be muzzled, and I don't blame them. Let's see. What is Cadillac's excuse or further details? We've engaged a small group of early customers. I don't know if I had to pay for that level of a beta test at that price. It just doesn't sit right because you know they're gonna do the whole song and dance and circus where the cars run around through all the different places, just like with the electronic reviewers, where on the first day you get the unboxing, on the next day you get the look and feel, on the third day, this is what it looks like when you turn the screen on the fourth day, here's how it takes pictures if it's a camera toting device, and then on the last day you finally get a review, and it's like, man, did not expect that for a car company. Uh, oh, well, you got milk all over your chin. That's what happens when you dribble. It. Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. Um, Eddie says 5,500 ain't a considerable discount for exactly like maybe 10,000 off. And like how long is the period where I'm restricted in what I can say? And because if it's indefinite, then if you're saying I can never talk bad about the car and I find some stuff with it, I've never found a perfect car yet. Let's see here. Da, da, da. Only 20 drivers were chosen for the program. Well, if it's that restrictive, you can afford to pay more, GM. You got all this ad money. Come on. These drivers selected are early adopters. They're tech savvy and they want the first and the best. Does it say what their restrictions are? GM may want to know if there are early issues that arise before the media can find out. That part I understand. Let's see. Before anyone else can immediately alert GM of an issue, problems can be fixed internally. You want to fix the first 100. You don't want to do a big recall. I don't know. I mean, we're seeing this right now with the Ford and Tesla and Volkswagen and several others that as they come out, they have rather heating issues and everybody has recalls. What it just seems like a little bit of amount of money for an NDA where you can't say anything bad about the car. I'd like some more details about it. If somebody can secure a copy of the agreement, that will be cool. I'd like to see how bad it is for these 20 people. All right, so we're talking about 20 people here, non-employees, so 10 toughs. All right. That's every lyric that's ever been shipped then. Pretty much. Uh, did I just hear the dealers tacking on another 5,500 for the price of a lyric? Yes. Eddie, depends on the NDA. It can be monetary. For the reviewers, it's not usually that bad if it was an accident. It's like you may lose your space in line. You may lose favorability. You may lose part of your contract if you get advertising. But for stuff like this, where it's a one-off, they usually get a little more steep with their constraints, and it could be monetary or it could be, a pretty big fee, basically. Or they could sue you for damages, depending on on what you said. If you said, "Hey, you know, I was driving down the road and my lyric wheel fell off," and now they have a dip in sales that they can attribute to it, they will try to get it from you. So instead of the $1,000, 5,000, 6,000, whatever it says in the, it'd probably be double. Instead of saying $10,000 fee for violating NDA, it's something like that, saying that the wheel came off. They would probably say, "Hey, uh, we're after you for a couple $1,000,000 in lawsuit." But it's gonna be in the contract as well. All right, let's see here. Why the NDA? Not confident in building a decent product or what? That was the general consensus over there as well. And yeah, so not just automatic data collection, sending survey forms. Yeah, like that part makes sense. Like if this was not a released product and it was like, hey, you know, as soon as it hits the news, you're good to go. It just feels different on a production product for the end user. These aren't tech reviewers. These are just nerds, and it's just weird. I mean, I've signed up on NDAs for software before. I've signed up on NDAs for hardware, but these were generally pre-release hardware. Hey, you get to try it out, and then when the new one comes out, you got to buy it again, or you get a discount, or reconvert it over. Sometimes it's just a firmware difference between the pre-production and the final. But that's a different experience than a car. I'm paying, what is the lyric for, $75 to $90,000, and that's just a different experience than a camera or a printer. I just it just doesn't feel right. Kind of like the $15, $18 a month BMW seat heaters, which are back in the news again. I don't know why they hit the news again, except that maybe it started to get cold in the southern hemisphere, or maybe this is the date that the thing finally takes effect. I don't know why it's in the news again. Let's see. So we've got another one from a private group. Let's take a look and see what it was. Oh, we're also being brought to you by the sun today. I mean, we have been partially before, but now we've got 300 watts coming in to that solar battery pack behind me, and or I should say battery bank. I, I just opened a link to the to the notes. Stand by. Mm, there we go. There's 800 watts of panels connected. I just took 160 times two. I just took them off because they were completely in the shade and they were bringing down everything. All right, so the next one was the Blazer. It's a YouTube link, which means they're probably going to have music because this is GM marketing. I just wanted to get you guys feel on the new electric Chevy Blazer. Oop. Yeah, I knew it would have music. All right, now we want this to be full screen, please. Come on, come on. I mean, I think it looks good. My dad's got the gas Blazer, and he likes it. Okay, there we go. Do I have control of the browser back yet? I did not. So we're just gonna leave it in this little window. That's fine by me. Um, I mean, this is what they should have been doing the whole time. Instead of making little weird mobiles, it's just made the cars look like the other cars. Preferably don't share a frame. That way you don't have all the compromises you have, like with the early uh, Korean EVs, like the Kona and the Nero, where they had to accommodate the hybrid and the ice and the battery, and they were just bad at doing everything. Not it's like bad, but they weren't good at doing everything. All right, let me stop this thing because it's slowing everything down, which is weird. There we go. Oh, no, I've still lost control of the browser. All right, let me lock and unlock, which will unshare and reshare. All right. It shouldn't change the size of my screen. That part is weird. So Timothy says, "Congrats on the sun power. Thank you." Um, yeah, the it's a little bad little accessory kit. The can't wait till we get back home where we have kilowatts of solar on the roof. Science on your side, exactly. The power company's going to wonder where a couple dozen kilowatt hours a month went. It's gone because it's not grid tied. It's off grid, so it just disappeared as far as they're concerned. And let's see, let's get this next article up. What do you guys think of the new Blazer? I think more options is always what we need. Like I keep saying, electrify all the things, and this is a thing. A mid-sized crossover. Just it's a very popular category right now. All right, so then I've got two from Robert William. He sent me more, but I have been out of my contacts app with him for a couple of hours. So this one he found on The Verge. Timothy thinks that the blazer looks pretty dope. Yeah, I think it's attractive. And share screen. This one. Go. All right. So Elon says we should see Steam running on Teslas soon. I'm not going to hold my breath because I'm sure it'll happen eventually, but Elon seems to think things happen easier and faster than they actually do. And I remember when the Model S Plaid launched, it was supposed to be launching with The Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077, and it does neither of those things right now. They did finally add the ability to, or they're still adding it. I'm not sure. My understanding is they added the ability to actually have some of that sound in the back screen pump through the headphones. Yeah, we do have Cuphead and Sonic now. Elon says we're making progress with Steam integration. Demo probably next month. Okay, so next month we see the demo, and then 3 more months we'll see it in actual cars. Unless it's really ready for real, then then we see it next month on the non-FSD beta crew, and then 3 months after that we see it for the FSD beta. But I think this will be fun, but not really necessary. I mean, only the new Model S and Model X can take advantage of this. There are a few Model Ys with both the Ryzen chip and the graphics card, but most of the Model 3s and Model Ys with Ryzen have just the processor, so they don't have the graphics chip to deal with this. So we'll see how this plays out, and hopefully they don't forget to turn off the ability to do it while the screen is facing the driver, because that will lead to more of this garbage here, with people breathlessly claiming about people are playing games while driving the car, blah blah blah. Even though as soon as you shift to drive, it's gone. We'll see what happens with that. All right, so this next one is also from Robert William, and I was not aware that it was coming to play, and I think it's really cool because this company and the other one that makes a similar looking vehicle, I really like their products. So the U.S. Army is going to evaluate Canoe electric vehicles. So Canoe and Arrival are the two that I really enjoy. They're weird looking mobiles. They look practical. They look affordable. They seem quality every time I see somebody doing an interview. Let's take a look here at these pictures. All right, so you got the by-wire. You got the fleet. So let's these pictures. Let's see. So after signing a deal with Walmart, I think I have that article in here. Canoe announced it has another deal with the U.S. Army. So these are an evaluation. So basically, the Army has put out a bid and said, "Hey, we need to see a platform that can do X, Y, and Z." And then looks like Canoe won the bid. So now they have to show that their vehicle can do X, Y, and Z. And then after the Army tests it, they can then go and ask for the money to actually buy these things, unless the money was already earmarked. Then they can then just take that earmarked money and assign it to, um, honestly, assign it to Canoe. I think they would then put out another bid, and then Canoe would just be more likely to win it because they already proved that they could do it. But you'd be surprised the amount of times that that somebody else proves something and another company wins the actual contract. Um, yeah, so this will be fun. Let's see if it says what they're testing. Specifically looking for vehicles that offer scalable, adaptable capabilities. Something that, according to Canoe, um, applies to their vehicles. Yeah, because we saw one of their demos where they actually moved the by wire rig to the middle and the back, and I think they did a right hand drive as well. And they were just racing the sled through the desert, and that was kind of fun looking. Let's see, minivan. I like their pickup truck and their large van. The Army isn't the only one interested. NASA plans on looking at, yes, that was another one. Like Canoe was making news this week. So you had Walmart, NASA, and the Army. For the deal with Walmart, Canoe will supply 4,500 units of the van, known as the Lifestyle Delivery Van, and Walmart plans to use the vans for deliveries of online orders. Let's see what the comments are on this. It could get interesting. There are none. Okay, whatever. Um, Andrew says, "Good evening from Stockholm, Sweden. Just finished watching the football match between is it Haken and Durgan Garden, 1-2. I'm sure I just ruined the names of your teams there. I'm sorry." um, the next story is, I think this one's a public group. Yes. All right. So this is why some of our smartest engineers need to make a breakthrough with a type of battery not reliant on expensive metals. And so it's an article from Electrek. And it says the electric vehicle battery costs fall to $132 per kilowatt hour, but it might go up from there. And let's take a look. Cost of electricity and battery pack, or electric vehicle battery packs, has gone down to 132 kilowatt hours, $132 per kilowatt hour, and price per watt. Tesla, if Tesla were achieving 150 per kilowatt hour for its battery pack on the Model S, that would mean 15 grand because it's roughly 100 kilowatt hours. Yes, but then remember we saw the LG get in trouble with GM for announcing that theirs was below 130 for cells, not packs, but cells. And then Elon was saying that that wasn't really in their realm either, which kind of implied that that didn't cost that much for them either. But this was all before the price of lithium and cobalt and everything else that goes in so many battery packs went up. But it was also before the 4680s and the high iron content cells came out. So I'm really curious where Tesla is on this, given that they're saying this 132 is the average, which means that on the average, most people don't have their own battery plants. They're still buying them from a supplier. So that means that the Volkswagens, the Teslas, and everybody else in the world who has their own battery plants should be lower than the average. Lithium ion pack prices were above $1,200 per kilowatt hour in 2010. Yeah, they were. It was wicked expensive. And the price of nickel has increased 24% in cost this year, yes. And we've already talked numerous times about how lithium has gone up 78% or so. Um, but Elon made a point on the shareholder call, which we didn't even talk about. The shareholder call saying that if you get into lithium refining, you could be minting money. So let's talk about that for a minute. Yeah, I guess it was a shareholder call. The quarterly call for Tesla, I thought was pretty cool, and they they had a better quarter than expected with Shanghai being shut down for practically a month. They really pulled it out, and Fremont, Shanghai, Berlin, and Austin are all setting new milestones left and right. And we talked about it over on the Tesla Life show. So rather than burn 30 minutes of your time again, let's just say go over to Tesla Life and watch Patrick and Mark and myself talk about it over there. Um, let's see. The next article is this is a fun one. This was a fun one. Paste that in there. Share screen. I made a button for it. The first time I've used it in a while. All right, so the jury rules that the driver is to blame for fatal Tesla crash in Florida, but they did rule that Tesla is 1% at fault for this. Um, this one you might remember is the one where Tesla added the speed limit mode to the car from the app and the screen, and when they did that, they dedicated it to this teen and his friend, like the victim, perp and the victim, the driver and the victim. Either way, the passenger, his family told Tesla to take the name off of it. This kid who crashed, Tesla did not tell them to take the name off it. Although by I think 2 firmware versions later, it no longer said dedicated to them either. What happened was this kid was a bad driver and got into numerous altercations with the law for speeding and driving recklessly. So the parents went to Tesla and asked for them to put the speed limit mode onto the car, just like they use for the service cars, and they did. Sometime later, the kid brought the car in and asked them to remove the speed limit, and they did. And then the kid crashed, and America's very litigious, so they sued Tesla, and Tesla got the 1% fault. And my understanding is that 1% came from allowing a non-owner, non-authorized uh, entity to request service on the vehicle to remove something that was put in place on purpose. So let's go through the article and see what they say on it. All right, so jury found Tesla negligent in 2014 Model S, assigned 99% of blame on the teenage driver and his father. The crash saw 2 Fort Lauderdale teens and a third. Oh, I didn't realize there was a third person there. Injured when a Model S was driven by Barrett Riley, crashed into a wall at 116 miles per hour. And it would say in memory of Barrett Riley in the screen for a while. I think they got a screenshot of it here. Yes, in memory of Barrett Riley. It had the other kid's name here on the very first couple of releases, but they stopped it and pulled the kid's name out and then continued on. And then further releases didn't say that. Like if you scroll back on the previous release notes, his name was no longer there either. I wonder if they removed it when they when they got sued. Elon's a little petty like that. Um, Although the lawyers might tell them to do it too. Hey, don't put this person's name in there. They're suing you. Um, so Riley sued Tesla saying that the Model S had a defective battery pack, um, because when it crashed at 114 miles per hour, it caught on fire. Sorry, 116 miles per hour, it caught on fire. Problem with that logic is all cars catch on fire at 116 miles per hour. Not every single unit, obviously, but all car models when they have high-speed crashes. That's a lot of energy being released, and you'll find that they catch fire. That's what they do. uh, they said that Tesla failed to warn purchasers of its vehicles of the battery's dangerous conditions. Uh, nah, bro. They're designed to rigorous safety standards. In fact, they're over-engineered. They could be a lot cheaper and a lot more permissive of stuff to go on. I'm not saying that I want that, but they could get away with it and be fine. But because they don't want fiery cars in the news all the time, and they actually want their customers to be safe, they spend a little extra to make sure that they are tanks. Yes. Tesla removed the speed limiter at the request of Riley after his parents installed it 2 months before. That is the part where they were wrong, but also probably why they moved it to the app, because There was no reason that needed to have a service visit to get done in the first place. And there was because there was no method to implement it, but that should have come to the car a lot sooner than it did. It took 3 years, and a jury finally delivered a verdict of $10.5 million, but could only put 1% of the liability on Tesla. So is that the payout, the 10.5 million, or 1% of the 10.5 million? Hmm. The jury found Tesla negligent for 2014, that 1% liability. Bulk of the blame was assigned to the teenage operator and his father. Um, let's see. So yeah, we talked about that, and let's see what the comments are. There are no comments on this one. Every other place I've seen the comments, they've been brutal. um, I don't know if Monaco ever got in trouble for extra legal speed. I don't know that she would be behind the wheel of a performance Tesla, um, or maybe any car at that point, for a little while. That would be a grounding, I think, for sure. 1%. What does that mean insurance wise? That's true. Yeah, because their insurance is probably going to pay for it. I think it's just in the case of like in my truck crash. The officer printed out a ticket on the scene, two tickets. One he gave to me, and it said contributed to crash 0%, and on the truck driver it said 100% at fault. So I think it's just a matter of saying that I was crashed into rather than I did anything to make the situation worse, which I couldn't have because I was riding down the middle lane on autopilot, minding my business at probably 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, knowing me, and and then there was a truck, and then it was hitting me a lot. But that one is still not resolved. And got the model February of 2018, and it's still not fully resolved yet. Uh, I'd love to tell you more about it, but I got to wait till it's resolved, and then we will discuss it, and we will look at video because I have video. Um, and TrueVault, perhaps if you message me, I'll look at it and see. I don't, I'm not set up to go find music from the music library right now, and I'm really sensitive with how I do the music. If it was in my music provider that I pay for in their library, I'd be fine with that. But everything else requires a little extra research. Next up, we've got, where did we go? Why is it not in here? Click here, click there. Okay, perfect. The the cursor moved in my note file. So that one I listed under as follow up. This next one I also listed as follow up. So we were talking about last week or the week before about the Tesla V4 supercharger, and I showed you a box design. Well, now we've got a Tesla trademark patent design application, and this is what's going to look like. It's like as Drive Tesla told us, it looks like a beefier version of the urban supercharger or a shorter version of the megacharger. So alternative Tesla supercharger post, uh, cable handle attachment operable part. So I don't know if they're going to have dual cables here or if that's just on the Semi it sits a little taller, or actually on the Semi it sits a little lower, and on the V4 it sits a little higher of the whole thing. We can see it's going to be a little taller than the current V3s, which are 5 feet and change, and 48 inches max. So this is for disability access, so it won't be higher than 48 inches from the ground, same like the current one. So as far as manipulating the handle and the cable will be the same. So that's got to be for the trucks. That's the only thing that makes sense, is for that to be for the trucks. So here we can see the architectural drawings for a new station in Danvers, Massachusetts. Let's see. There are almost no visual differences between the megacharger and the supercharger stands at 6 feet 4 inches tall, 4.25 inches tall, compared to the V3 at 5 feet 6.25 inches tall, while the megacharger is just under 7 feet tall. So they'll be very, very visually similar. But having them be different heights and put the handle in a different place, everything makes it clear that, hey, this is the wrong one. Just like uh, you can't really fit a diesel nozzle into a gasoline nozzle on the newer cars. So what sometimes happens is folks will kind of lean back and just kind of dribble it in there. But you can't have that with electricity, and you don't want that with this. So rather than have a family cruiser come through and take up a stall for semi, they just make it visually clear, hey, you're at the wrong one. And of course, they didn't give us any further details, but here we can see in a tweet what they've marked out. So let's take a look at that. And of course, it opens in a new window, which gives me time to log into Twitter because I haven't done that on this browser. And by no, I'm not new. Oop, pop the baby in the head. Yeah, that's me. Oops. Must say, I do appreciate the stability of this browser. I think it's just because I don't have a million tabs running. All right, so now it's taking me back to my homepage, which is not what I wanted. So I'm looking at a tweet from Holmar. It says, if full self-driving isn't 10.3 isn't amazing after all this time, I don't know what's going on. I agree. Um, Elon tweets in German. We've got something about Elon in German coming up. So now back to what I was actually looking at here. Here we go. Copy this link and get it over here for you guys to look at. So Danvers, there are references to alternatives. Oh, Danvers, Massachusetts. I can swing through there at some point. In addition to V3 posts, probably still a V3 build. Suggests that V4 sites are on the way. So let's zoom in on this picture here. That's not as helpful as I thought it would be. I thought it would give me a different interface. Yeah, so there's V3, there's V4 and V3. Let's save this image. Yes, fine, whatever. I'll just click save. And maybe I'll look at that later, see if we can get any more information out of it. See what you guys had to say about it. Right, so that was a follow-up to the V4 supercharger that we saw before. And this one was interesting to me because it goes the opposite of what you would expect. The Model Y has replaced the Model X as... Oh, no, sorry. It goes exactly as you expect. The Tesla Model Y has replaced the Model X as the fastest-selling used vehicle. Because it's cheaper and it's still Tesla, and that's selling right now. And Tesla tells us, hey, the Model Y is going to be their most popular. So the Model X was selling pretty quick used because they weren't making any new ones for a year. All right, so the Model Y is now at 24.9 days to sell on the used car market, uh, with an average selling price of just south of 70,000 US dollars. And a brand new Model Y Performance starts at 69,990. The used car market in the world right now is just messed up. Uh, as expected, they attribute the high selling price and quick turnaround time to the record level of demand for Tesla vehicles. Yes, yes. Yeah, because if you order one right now, you're waiting almost a year, if not over a year, for it to show up. Uh, Heard the fans from the solar because we kicked up a notch over 300 watts. Um, Model 3 sells slightly quicker at 27.7 days on average and $52,000. And where did the Model X used to be? Well, either way, the Model X right now is at 28.0 and an average selling price of $90,000. Oh my goodness. Hey, Tacoma, you want to go for a ride? uh, Tacoma is the name of my Model X. And no, we're not getting rid of it. All right, moving on. This link, if you have Tesla shares and you haven't voted yet, you should probably get on that. I also need to get on that. Tesla can sell as many cars in Australia in 2022 as they have over the last 8 years, according to Tesla chair Robert Dellum. Speaking at the Australia Clean Energy Summit in Sydney, she said that there are currently 26,500 Australian Teslas on the road, and that number has accumulated over 8 years since Tesla started selling the Model S, starting in 2014. And the momentum is there. I personally wouldn't be surprised if we double that number by the end of the year, she says. Yeah, that makes perfect sense because you're exporting them from Giga Shanghai, and Giga Shanghai is doing gangbusters, and in Australia, people are also in a year-long wait or more. So if you just give them the cars, they'll pay for them and drive them around. Even with the doubling of Teslas, the EVs still hold a small market share in the country. EVs currently make about 2% of new car sales in Australia. And while Drive Tesla makes that number sound small, remember when we were looking at hybrids and wondering when they would get to 1%. So for EVs to already be at 2% in Australia, even, that's really good. And the 2% is it's not a stop. It's gonna accelerate from there. Getting to that first percentage point is what takes a long time. After that, it kind of accelerates on its own. Uh, oh wow, we'll open this one later. React to this one because clearly I haven't read it. I just saw it. Uh, Tesla says that gas generators no longer make sense in Australia as battery storage systems become cheaper and smarter. And this has been the case for many island nations for a while already, like American Samoa and a couple other places where Tesla's put in mega pack and power pack installations. Because at that point, you're also paying to ship in your gasoline and your diesel or fuel oil, whatever you're running your generators on. And so let's see, this is from February. So it's been a while then. Um, they describe the batteries as clean peakers. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing this in California and Texas. These mega packs are being rolled out everywhere to help shore up everything. All right, so let's go on to the next article before I get distracted by more of the, hey, here's what else is out there. So this week we wanted to talk about the 2 millionth Tesla coming out of Fremont. Isn't that cool? Yeah, 2 millionth Fremont. You had a record coming out of Berlin. Had another record coming out of Shanghai. It's been a good month. I see these little photos. Sometimes they sell the car. Sometimes the car ends up in the factory as a museum piece. Oh, this is the one I was talking about the other time. 2 million plus Teslas made in Fremont. So I was talking about this on the Tesla Life. They posted this at 4:20 a.m. at the Tesla factory, uh, and nobody commented on the 4:20. All right, so check comment check. No comments yet. Go back to the notes. I really shouldn't put the notes on top of the comments. Let me just slide them over here because I don't keep my screen on top because I know what I'm looking at. You're looking at it with me, and I know what I look like. That's a little weird if I look at myself on the camera instead of looking into the camera or looking at what I'm looking at. Um, let's see. Let's see. This next one is we go space. Yeah, let's go space. This one, Canada's de Havilland has become the first aircraft manufacturer to integrate SpaceX Starlink. And you might think, oh, didn't we hear of some aircraft news with Starlink before? Yes, we have. But those were airlines, and those were airlines servicing Hawaii. However, this is the first aircraft manufacturer that has put the Starlink terminals in their planes, which is pretty cool. They said it's going to give better coverage, better performance, costs less, and it has less drag because it's a low profile flat surface rather than needing a dome or a bump. And they were pretty excited about it. So the company announced a partnership in a press release highlighting the changes to their flagship Dash 8 400, noting that the lightweight and aerodynamic Starlink equipment results in fuel savings that no other satellite service can offer. And fuel savings to an aircraft manufacturer and an aircraft operator are right, especially right now. They're key, and this can be the difference in making a profit or staying in business or having a lower ticket price than a competitor. So this is pretty cool. Um, Crazy note about the Fremont plant. I now have my second car from Fremont. That's awesome. Congratulations. Is it what'd you get this time? Or is it the one you've been driving? But I think that's cool. So I'm also my second Fremont car. It's my first new one, and I've never taken the tour. I want to take the tour of Fremont, and I want to take the tour of Austin. But I think I want to hold off on the Austin tour until the Cybertruck gets started. All right, so let's see. Oh yeah, that's true. I sold cars from Fremont before. I used to sell Toyotas. Uh, uh, believe it or not, I'm pretty sure the '87 Chevy Nova, really Corolla, used to own was one of the joint Chevy Toyota project cars built at Fremont. Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible. You keep forgetting how much history is in that place. Now, if only they could improve their personnel interaction so they stop getting sued. um, let's see. The Starlink antenna's lightweight and aerodynamic form factor give a more sustainable operation with fuel savings not capable on other legacy systems. Uh, de Havilland Canada's work with Starlink to integrate satellite-based in-flight Wi-Fi on an aircraft platform is the first agreement between Starlink and any OEM, and highlights de Havilland's. I'm sure I'm messing up their company name as well. Customer focus and agility as an organization. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Well, they're the first two airlines. Yeah, we talked about the two airlines, Hawaiian Airline and JSX. And then Royal Caribbean is also testing out Starlink on the Freedom of the Seas. So, speaking of Freedom of the Seas, I don't know that we really talked much about the keyboard gone again. No, it's not. All right, so we're going to go Starlink.com. Starlink Marine has launched, and sorry, Maritime. Starlink Maritime has launched, and the picture they use. You need a service address? Oh, shipping address. Okay. The picture they used at first was kind of like a more personal sized yacht, but let's look at this for a second. So high speed, low latency internet with up to 350 megabits download at sea, $5,000 a month with a one time hardware cost of $10,000 for two high performance terminals. So you get two dishes and everything, but price really only makes sense for the cruise ships. I mean, and like any other commercial operator, I don't know any families that have a boat that they just occasionally go out in. Because the one they showed was even smaller than this. It was more like a family speedboat, a nice one, and $5,000 a month, $10,000 up front. Uh, Now, if I was running a container ship or a car or a cruise ship, that would be fine. But I don't know who the actual customer is with these, unless they're just saying that the personal ships just look better. Boats, the personal boats just look better than the big old commercial ships. I mean, because cruise ships are ugly and cargo ships are even more ugly. So they're saying you connectivity at the sea around the globe. Yep, easy to install. Yeah, it's just bolt that to the deck and you're good to go. Um, that doesn't look like it's any special marine grade cable either. Maybe outdoor cable is already sufficient. Yeah, this was what they showed us at first. They showed us this uh, when they launched the service, and I was like, yeah, that's the prices. That's not going to happen. But looking at this right here, it does appear to be the business terminal, the bigger squishy, because that mine does not look like that out there in the backyard. I don't know. Yes, exactly. That was what I was thinking when they announced it, and then I saw the price, and I was like, if I'm gonna be retired, I don't want to be spending all my money on on internet. But my wife doesn't really want to retire to the sea, so we couldn't go buy a used sailboat and live off it or anything because she doesn't like that idea. Anyway, so let's go back to the current events, and we were at oh, lovely. Tesla's getting sued again. What's new? They're getting sued in Germany over privacy concerns and climate claims. So there is an article we discussed on the Tesla Life show, and I'm looking to see if I included it for discussion here or not. I don't think I did. Excuse me. Just thinking there might be another sneeze, but there's not. So we talked about how uh, the first 2,000 test cars for the Berlin plant, uh, they were approved to get them out there for more practice, make sure the factory was really ready to go, button everything down, and then you've got all these cars that a significant portion of them were actually retail ready, and Tesla applied to get a permit to actually sell those cars to customers as well, and it was approved. But in Tesla's argument for why this should be approved, they said for environmental reasons, rather than recycling and destroying these, let's say maybe it was only 1,000 of the cars, 1,000 cars, when we could actually just give them to customers and then they can get recycled at the end of their lifetime rather than now, and it was approved. But here we are; they're being sued for environmental reasons um, over the use of Sentry Mode in public and by claims that the automaker of buying their vehicles reduces CO2 emissions might be misleading, allegedly. So this seems like another AstroTurf organization, just helping them sue Tesla, slow stuff down. The Federation of German Consumer Organization, Victor Z Bravo Victor, filed on Tuesday. The group is the largest consumer protection group, said in a statement they are going after Tesla for misleading environmental statements and missing information on how Sentry Mode works. What information is missing on how Sentry Mode works? It sees motion, it records it to your flash drive. Done. um, and then the environmental claims are probably going to be the same stuff we always hear about hybrids and electrics, about how electricity has to come from somewhere. What if it comes from coal? Blah, blah, blah. Let's take a look. They claim that Tesla promotes its vehicles help reduce emissions. They don't tell the whole story. Tesla should more clearly publish that they sell emissions credits to. Oh, okay. This one is almost as bad as that. They're saying that because Tesla sells emissions credits, they're actually helping other automakers sell more fossil cars. And this has been an argument made against them for a while. I don't know if it's anything to sue them over. Um, they do make a little bit of money off of it, but it's not a major business unit for them selling emissions credits. And I don't know how effective this will be for them to go after it, because how many credits do they sell in the EU and how many credits do they sell in other zones? Anyway, let's see. Tesla does publish this information, but the group says it should be more prominent and not buried in their 2021 impact report. It's 140 pages of environmental stats that you requested, so we can lead you to water, but we can't make you drink it. I mean, it's not like they. It's a very clear name. It's the Climate Impact Report. All right, so the group also alleges Sentry Mode, which uses the vehicle's onboard cameras to monitor the surroundings, doesn't comply with European data regulations because they seem to think that it's processed in the cloud, which it's not, because Tesla is far too cheap to be sending that much information over their cellular connections. Um, in certain cases, the recordings are stored in the vehicle. This is the processing of personal data, which is subject to GDPR. In addition, the unprovoked recording, which is happening in the vehicle environment, is not permitted. So basically, they're saying that all cars with dash cams are illegal, essentially, but especially Tesla. For Sentry Mode to be legal, the group says the owners would have to obtain consent from people passing by the vehicle when the feature is active and make the use of Sentry Mode in the public area not possible. I know that EU has some really strict privacy rights, but I do also know that dash cams there are not illegal. So this is a major stretch. And if their argument is because it's not stored in the cloud, then that's a foolish argument. And if it's that it does use the cloud, then they're wrong. So it's that simple. You will get Tesla cam clips traveling over the air if your airbags go off or any other crash detected type event where the car will send that as its dying communication. um, in the States, if somebody gives you a really bad Sentry event and then you plug in a dash cam, it doesn't go to the cloud. It stores it inside the car. It'll take it from the car's internal storage and pop it onto your flash drive when you plug in the flash drive. But the question there is, how bad is bad enough? And that first drive you give it, is it sufficient? So rather than rely on that, just keep a proper flash drive in there all the time. Especially now they come with the car. All right, so next up, don't need that. You need this. Where'd you go? All right, so yeah, that was the next article about the Giga Berlin units for sale. So we'll skip that. Tesla had a new service agreement, extended service agreement, that they took away immediately. Drive Tesla seems to think it was because of a um, typo or similar. People were actually able to buy it. We were able to see the new option under our upgrades tab of our app, but tapping on it generated an error. And others, however, successfully got it to load from screenshots. Got it to load and from screenshots shared the Tesla Model 3 Canadians Facebook group. It looks like it'll start at 7,700 Canadian. We don't know if the price is Canadian or U.S. currency, as Eric, who lives in Los Angeles, shared a photo from his app showing the same 7,700 price. Oh, interesting. But, although right now isn't the loonie and the dollar really close, just like the dollar and the euro? So it may actually have just been that was the exchange rate. Um, According to the description, the extended service agreement will be effective from the date of expiration of your vehicle's limited warranty period. So in most cases, that's 4 years, 50,000 miles, um, and covers the necessary maintenance or parts or replacement caused by quality problems of materials or manufacturing processes of parts produced or provided by Tesla. So basically, it's just an extension of your extended warranty of your regular warranty. It extends it. Um, More importantly, the ESA does not cover the battery or drive unit, which makes sense because the battery and drive unit are 8 years and 150,000 miles. Unless you've got an old car like mine, then it's 8 years and unlimited miles. Yeah. Although it never, no, it doesn't say that a lot of times when I click on the website. Um, There will be some purchasing rules to pertain to how old your Tesla is, and they were quite complex. ESA will be transferable if you sell your car at a later date, so very similar to the extended service agreement that was already available on Model S and Model X, where you had to buy it before your warranty ran out, and you could only buy one. So if you wanted the 2 year or the 4 year, you had to pick in advance, pay it all up front, and then that was transferable to the new owner. But the new owner couldn't buy it on their own unless it came with the car. So there are those. There will also be those who think it's too expensive for what it includes, considering it does not cover the battery or drive unit. And again, you don't need that. Um, all right, so let's see. So, how do you provide a longer term guarantee for services? Test provides professional technicians are responsible for the maintenance. After meeting certain conditions, it can be transferred to the car to add value to your car. And then there's this in Chinese. And then they tell you what you got to do to actually get it. So if the vehicle delivery days are less than 3 years, divided by the driving mile, or no, it's a divider, or the driving mileage is less than 70,000 kilometers, the corresponding extended warranty service can be purchased according to the vehicle delivery days. Less than 4 years, driving mileage is equal to 70,000 kilometers, and less than 80,000 kilometers, the warranty service can be purchased from the service center. Uh, so, like, my car would not qualify. um, the vehicle delivery days are greater than or equal to 4 years, or the odometer miles are greater than or equal to 80,000 kilometers, and the extended warranty service cannot be purchased temporarily. So yeah, I would be in that last bullet. I can't, and I think that the way that it's so clumsily worded might be why they pulled it, according to Drive Tesla speculation. Uh, so my car is over 4 years old, and it's over 80,000 kilometers. So how many miles is it at now anyway? Because of that, it would be unable to participate in this program. That's okay. I'm still looking at a third party situation. I probably should look harder because if I'm too old for Tesla, I might be too old for them coming up. Yeah, I'm at 71,859 miles. 15,646 kilometers. Oh, and that's with my lack of driving for the new normal and working at home now. So imagine where I would have been had nothing changed. Yeah, Tesla already covers the main battery and drive unit for at least 8 years, 100,000 miles. So there's no need to pay an additional more than 7,000. I mean, most people don't keep their cars for 8 years. Some people do, but most do not. All right, so then in further news, Walmart blocked Canoe from selling their EVs to Amazon. They had an option for first right of refusal, and they exercised it. Um, According to Drive Tesla, Tesla stopped providing mobile service in Quebec for a little bit. A couple owners stated that they were able to obtain some appointments, and so it looks like a staffing issue right there. Let's do another update. All right, so Dish was coming after Starlink, and Starlink employed the Starlink customers and politicians to help fight back. Well, DirecTV has joined in because they also will be affected, according to the same survey that SpaceX used to show that they would have 70% plus disruption. DirecTV also said that they will have disruption. So hopefully, um, having more than one voice show that the misapplication of a satellite band for use on cellular towers, one's coming from above and it's kind of directed, and the other is coming from the side and is quite loud. Uh, the overlap wasn't designed to be that way, and um, that's what the FCC is for. They sell the airwaves, and when they give you a specific application, you can't just go changing it. And hopefully they stick to their rights there. They get a lot of money for the renting of the spectrum. All right, so let's see. Disrupt their satellite services, which this is called a public misinformation. And DirecTV also filed an objection to Dish with FCC on Monday. The satellite provider said the proposal to use 12 gigahertz spectrum would cause severe and widespread interference to DirecTV subscribers in all areas of the country, whether urban, suburban, or rural. SpaceX was focused mostly on rural because that's their primary customer. But or at least that's when the senator responded to me. He's like, "Yeah, we want to keep rural internet available for everybody. Here's some stuff." I'm like, I mean, I think rural internet's important, but I didn't write as somebody who would be affected as rural because this is not. And I figured if I lied to them about where I was, they would just throw my letter in the bin. No need to lie about it. I said, here's what I do, and I use Starlink as backup, and I need it. And if I can't use it, then people will get hurt. Not by me, but by me not being able to do my job. So we'll see who the next politicians are. The answer. One gave me a generic, "Hey, I got your message," and then the other one gave me that letter about SpaceX, which was pretty cool. And then High Voltage Racing and Performance has donated us $4.99. Pair character lifting some weights, saying keep it up. Thank you very much. That's a cute little pair. He's keep it up. That's awesome. Let's see. To support the claim, DirecTV included a study conducted by the Satellite and Space Systems Consulting Services, SAVID. The study took a conservative approach, uh, which significantly understate the indicated interference, but still found the plans would cause extensive interference for its customers. I do believe this was the same one that that SpaceX used. If not, they used a similar one that was also um, wasn't a worst case scenario. It was, hey, this is what it could do, and then they expected it to be worse than the report said because it was trying to nail them down in a specific way. Let's see. The only solution would be to reject Dish's plan and keep the 12 gigahertz for satellite providers because, unlike broadband services, which can replace lost packets through two-way communications, DPS packets lost to interference result in frozen video screens and canceled subscriptions, says DirecTV. Yeah, and that's just Dish. It would be a mess up of two-way communication with Starlink. Uh, since asking for support last month, SpaceX customers have overwhelmed the FCC with over 95,000 comments urging the agency to reject the rule changes proposed by Dish. I mean, it's a public resource, and you're a commercial entity using it. You need to be fair with it, and I mean, we have the technology. We can all play fair, and that is not it. All right. So we looked at the Blazer, so I'm gonna skip that. Uh, Rimac or Remac is looking at structural battery packs and 46 millimeter cylindrical cells to rival Tesla. So it just says 46. So I guess they're not 4680s, just 46s, but 46 how talls, or 46 800s because everybody but Tesla likes to add that extra floating zero to the back. Um, let's see. So those two innovations are pioneered by Tesla, In an interview with Automotive News, Rimac Technologies head of research and advanced engineering said the company is developing battery cells that are 46 millimeters in diameter, same as Tesla's 4680s. Rimacs will use varying heights, unlike Tesla's, which are 80 millimeters tall. This increased size will allow for increased energy density. They're also working on a structural pack, which forms part of the car's body, instead of a box within a box. So the same way Elon says, hey, we've got cargo versus we've got our fuel within the wing. Same situation. And milk? She's shouting at me for milk in her sleep. Are you dreaming? It's cute, whatever it is. All right, so the company refers to this as cell to pack efficiency, and when you do cell to pack modulus, you have less filler inside the pack. Like there's less structure, and uh, Tesla's proven that they can work, and it's part of the reason that they broadcast everything so broadly. Is like, hey, we're trying to, as Patrick would say, bring about a future free from fossil fuels. The way to do that is to make sure that everybody has easy access to these technologies. Wish I could join, but at the track helping some guys out. Yeah, it'd be a little loud, wouldn't it? uh, Rimac recently received the necessary certification for their EV to go on sale in the US. The Navara produces 1914 horsepower and can reach 60 in under 2 seconds. The hypercar has a top speed of 258 miles per hour, or 415 kilometers per hour. I was hoping they'd have a picture of it, but they don't. Oh well. Uh, Postal Service. So, Postal Service has not been doing well with their Biden mandate to buy more EVs. And Mr. DeJoy had some excuse about why they needed to keep on with the combustibles. My video camera is freezing. Let me restart the camera. I gotta pick a camera. Then I gotta flip it over. There we go. And so now the Postal Service is going to get an additional 25,000 EV units for their use. So, according to Reuters, the USPS is planning to fulfill half of their next 50,000 postal delivery vehicles with EVs. The current gen vehicle contract is with Oshkosh Defense, and they were looking at less than 10%. So obviously, somebody talked to somebody who could make it happen and fix it a little bit, but still not in line with how many the federal fleet is supposed to be comprised of. So around 40% of the 84,500 vehicles will be EVs now. So that's much better than less than 10%. But if the Grumman LLV is any indication, these things will be around forever. So it would make sense to make as many as EV as possible. Because the LLV was, let's take a look. This one. All right, so it was in production from 1987 to 1994, and it was supposed to last, I think, 20 years. Um, Lifespan specified by the Postal Service was 24 years, but it was extended to 30 years in 2009, and so now they've been on the road for over 27 years. It was based on an S10 Blazer chassis and had the Grumman aluminum frame on it. As they aged out, they became a lot more prone to catching fire, and they are well overdue for being replaced. You do see some replacements, but at the same time, you do still see these dudes all over the road. And I didn't realize, every time I see the article, I realize that they had them in Canada as well. Uh, Postal Service vehicles are the only ones that don't require license plates in this country. So when they do use a non-Grumman vehicle, it's always a little weird because you see they'll still have a plate holder and they'll either put a Postal Service logo or nothing. They don't usually remove the bracket. If it could help with keeping stamp prices down, go for it. Yeah, it could help with that, but part of the problem with the Postal Service is jacked the way they are is that they have to pre-fund their retirement accounts for 70 years. So it's like, hey, we need to know that we're going to hire Susie. She hasn't been born yet, but she's going to retire in 70 years. Here's the money to fully fund her retirement account. Makes a lot of sense. Basically, that is the politicians trying to kill the Postal Service so they can sell it to their buddies. And it's part of the Constitution. We have to have a Postal Service. So suck it up. I mean, as much as they want to uphold certain parts of the Constitution above all others, the Postal Service isn't even an amendment. It's right there in the main body. Moving on before I get special about this. Let's go on to. So we touched on the quarterly report. Let's see if there's any highlights I want to bring out from somebody else's summary. Besides, like I said, go watch us on the Tesla Life show. Here's the actual printed report. They had 2.5 billion in GAAP operating income, of 14.6 operating margin in Q2. Operating cash flow minus capex is 621 million. So that's minus the massive construction they're doing around the world, and more than 1,000 vehicles produced in a single week at Berlin. We talked about that here when it happened. The highest solar deployment in over 4 years. Is this thing caught up with me? It says live. Yeah. So let's see. Talk about the gigafactories. I wanted to point out, we talked about their how they're getting sued for making revenue of regulatory credits. So they had $344 million in regulatory credits, which is down 3% from last year. And again, they're not trying to make, I mean, it's free money, so they're taking it. Same way that the oil companies take our billions of dollars in subsidies, even though they don't need the money either. And that's not government money. These are credits from other automakers. Like, hey, GM didn't sell enough EVs, so they'll buy from Tesla. Say they need to sell 100 more EVs to be able to sell their trucks. They'll buy 100 credits from Tesla. Fiat Corp, conglomerate. They want to sell the big old gas guzzlers here and some of the vans over in Europe, so they'll buy some U.S. and international credits from them as well. Stuff like that. So their margin per vehicle gross gap is 25%. That's very healthy. And you got your operating expenses, net income to shareholders, 42% year over year in revenue from quarter two. The revenue was impacted by the following items: growth in vehicle deliveries, increased average selling price, and growth in other parts of the business. Profitability increased $2.5 billion, which was impacted by increased average selling price, growth in vehicle deliveries, profit growth in other parts of the business, lower stock-based compensation expense. So they didn't have to pay Elon anything this quarter, which is helpful. What hurt them is the higher raw material costs of commodities, logistics, and expedition costs, and higher per unit fixed costs in Shanghai due to the shutdowns. Yeah, when you had to spread it out over what you did make and you made less, each one cost more. The negative FX impact and their Bitcoin impairment. They sold 75% of their Bitcoin because they thought that the market was going to do something different than it did. Quarter-end cash equivalents, short-term market securities increased by 902 million to $18.9 billion in cash. Q2 driven mainly by free cash flow of 621 million, partially offset by debt repayments of 402 million. Yeah, they're still paying off their debts. They're not taking much on new, if anything. As of the end of Q2, we've converted approximately 75% of our Bitcoin purchases into fiat. The conversions in Q2 added $936 million of cash to our balance sheet. Lee says it's Sunday and good day, everyone. And Eddie says, and make a few compliance vehicles, eh? See, that's the thing is, even after making their compliance vehicles, they were still short, so they had to go to somebody who has extra credits and who doesn't need any of their credits. A company that doesn't make any fossils. So this one was fun to look at just because S and X were out of production. So last year they didn't make any S and Xs. Basically, they did make some, but not really any. And year-over-year increase from Q2 2022 to Q2 2021 was 601% more Model S's and X's than they made last year. I think this is when they had first started to finally unlock after their year-long shutdown, basically. 3 and Y were only up 19%. And again, Shanghai was down, so that really messed with their numbers. And again, when you didn't have any to sell, they only got 1,895 Model S's and X's on the road last year. So 16,162 this year, a 753% increase. While overall their production is up 25% and deliveries are up 27%, including all vehicles. The lease count, 38%. So the global vehicle days of inventory supply is down 56%, which is in line with every other auto manufacturer. When we were selling, I mostly only sold Japanese cars, but I also sold Chevys. You wanted to have about a month of cars in inventory, so that as a customer came on, you had a selection and you could make it happen, and then the cars get ordered and you could deal with them. But when it got down to about 2 weeks of supply, that meant that you weren't gonna be able to meet your quotas if if a truck didn't come, and so uh, being down to just 4 days of supply for the country or is this for the country or for the world? Because Tesla is unique in their reporting. So either way, 4 days of supply, globals, that's the world. 4 days of supply, and then they run out. So that goes to show with the year-long wait times. Oh, we're making 500 watts of solar. Look at that. Completely solar powered, including the lights and everything. All right, so let's see. Speaking of solar, their solar deployments were up 25%, but their storage deployments were down 11. Solar roof deployments were down, and regular solar was up. So 34% more supercharger stations and connectors. Looking at 100,000 units of Model S and Model X, so that's unchanged for years. 550,000 3s and Ys out of Fremont. Greater than 750,000 out of Shanghai, and 250,000 out of Berlin and Austin. So they also mentioned how they were continuing to find new ways to improve their efficiency. So that 550 out of Fremont might not be all. It's exciting. Body shop robot count per unit of manufacturing capacity. So this is how many robots they have per plant per type of vehicle. So Model S uses a lot of robots. Model 3 uses substantially less. Model Y even less than that. And then Model Y in Austin and Berlin, you see the Berlin actually uses more than Austin because Austin has the structural pack already deployed, whereas Berlin has only started to practice with it. And because of the structural pack, there's just a lot less stations that the frame has to go through, and that means less touches, less chances to mess it up, which is pretty cool. Da, 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 da. Anything else I wanted to point out? Not particularly. Let's look at the pictures. 2 million vehicles at Fremont. Gig of Berlin General Assembly and paint shop. Somebody said they saw some of the new colors running around. Gig of Texas has made some significant progress on its solar panel deployment. So the logo will be in the negative space, and then the rest of the building will be covered in panels. Which, when you're in a state that has a shaky as power grid as Texas, that's probably a good idea. Here we see the body shop in Texas and the exterior of Shanghai. So Shanghai's still got the same basic shape, but it's not laid out like the other two. And General Assembly in Shanghai. This was something new that came up. The predictive vision-based seatbelt tensioning. So on all of the Hardware 3 equipped vehicles, the seatbelt tensioners can now react by sight. So the same way you might tense up, your car is tensing up too, and helping to better manage your deceleration in a collision than reactive, where the car waits for the sensors to say, "Hey, I've been hit," and then react accordingly. The gray line is the vehicle itself. The maroon line is with the visual pretensioner, with the visual system rather, and then yellow is with the current pretensioner, and green is just the seatbelt. So you want to slow the person down a little more smoothly. Let's see, anything else that was super interesting to me, because I'm not the financial person. Um, nope. Moving on. Let's go to Porsche now. The Taycan is getting an update. Let's learn more about it from Drive Tesla. Giant Porsche Taycan software updates on the horizon. Whether you've been driving your Porsche since 2020 or you just picked it up, a comprehensive update is on the horizon. Porsche has announced that the company will release an all-vehicle software update on the Taycan to bring all vehicle years up to the status of the 2023 model year. And they did this once before, where they added some nice features, which at the time I was impressed, because these model year companies, they don't usually do that. Although when Ford did it to the Mach-E, it made some of them either stuck or a little more likely to take off than they should have been, because they used the wrong values for one of the motors when they applied it to the fleet. This campaign will allow our customers to benefit from the continuous further development of the Taycan. We have extensively optimized the vehicle series in almost every respect since 2019. New functions have been added and others have been revised or tweaked to further enhance customer experience. Following this update, anyone driving a Taycan from early in the car's production run will be pleasantly surprised by how much has developed on the vehicle since then internally. Porsche refers to this as the update of the capital P. uh, because the 2023 model year, which started in July of 2022, bears the letter P. Oh, okay. Changes include adding new functions to Porsche Communications Management and Porsche Connect, including optimizing voice control and integrations with Spotify and wireless Android Auto. Nice. Updates to the assistance systems, including broader park assist. Always helpful. Updates to the powertrain settings to allow for broader range, or better range, as much as 30 miles or 50 kilometers based on the WLTP. Not bad. So I wonder if they did that by optimizing like the way certain things go, or if they just unlocked part of the reserve of the battery, or what. Um, Updates to thermal management options will allow greater range and shorter charging times in winter conditions. That's always a helpful situation there. Unlocking functions after vehicle purchases, such as uh, the first being the keyless opening function for the doors and tailgate. That accessories like Tesla and BMW, where you can just go in the app and do software unlocks, or I'm not sure after vehicle purchases. It sounds like extra cash. Expanded the over-the-air updates. Okay, that's always fun too. Um, Taycan does have over-the-air capabilities. It's not yet active, so you got to go to your Porsche dealer. So hey, we made it better to get over-the-air updates, but we're still not giving them to you. You got to go to the Porsche dealer. The update will take the better part of a full day to complete. But the good news is this will help setting up the blocks for true OTA in the future. Wow. Can you imagine if you had to take your car in for a whole day for a software update? My Civic hybrids, they would take anywhere from 10 to 35 minutes to do their updates at the dealer with the special tool. My Chevy Volt was also up to an hour, and again with the special tool. And then both of my Teslas were anywhere from 10 minutes to 90 minutes. No special tool, just sitting in my driveway. Wow, a whole day. Mm. No comments on this either? I guess not a lot of Drive Tesla readers or Porsche owners, huh? All right, so now I've got a couple of private group posts. Let me uh, get the news out of there for you guys. All right, so Dan brought us this one. Mouse off and back on. So Ford is reportedly preparing to slash 8,000 jobs to fund the EV transition, and somebody pointed out that folks are going to not like EVs for sure because you lost your job on it. The union will fight this unless they are already in on it. Yeah, maybe so. And somebody pointed out they're probably already trying to force them to make more gas cars now. Yeah. Y'all, electrification. Them, we will shift focus. Y'all, we need to get rid of dealerships. Them, okay, we're laying off people and shifting focus. Y'all, wait, that's messed up. All right. I don't think I'll be able to read this because I'm not a subscriber. So what I'm going to do is find it somewhere else because this is how your freaking paywalls work. Screw them. Uh, or 8,000 layoff. Washington Examiner on MSN. Let's not. I actually blocked Washington Examiner from my feed for a reason. They stretch stuff and change stuff. Speaking of Dan and his articles, hello Dan. Hello Dan.
Hello. Glad to be joined again.
Indeed. So you were telling us about how Ford is laying off up to 8,000 people, and I was trying to find a article that didn't require me to actually subscribe to it. Um, Here, follow blog. You gonna tell us about your article?
Oh, I came in at the right time. I find it weird that they, as I explained before in our various groups, I found it strange, as I mentioned before, that they put the head of the union in front with the CEO and of when they released the Ford Lightning, when business wise, unions and companies don't get along.
Yeah.
So it seemed to be for show, and this is what we have, and that plays out.
Yep.
As one of our mutual friends mentioned about dealerships, those are franchised. So
There.
if they have an ability to keep their people or not, when you're working on an assembly floor line, you're working directly with corporate. So it's up to your union man to take defense to you. So if this news comes out, I'm asking the union, hey, if we just did a photo op with them, why are they doing this to us? And it says, well, no, I'm looking at it now. It says mostly salaried workers. So
Yeah,
that still includes your management in the
it
warehouse
does.
floor.
But and they're still union too. But one thing you
Yes.
pointed out when you shared it with us was you're wondering if they had anything to do with the Ford Model E versus the Ford, and it says they're coming from the Ford Blue Ice side of the operation. So I mean, anyone who saw Model E come up and didn't see this coming, they're just being willfully head in the sand sort of situation. Like electric is coming, and nothing is going to stop it. And
That's
even if it does somehow stop electric, we're going to stop the fossils too because we're killing ourselves here with these.
well, the crazy thing is they're pulling from the blue ice position. Now if they elaborate on this later, saying that they're retraining and then sending them over to the Maki division, then that's
Mhm.
beautiful. That's wonderful. But I would have released it all at once.
Yeah, that's not something you
Not
want
just
to
say
say
we're
later.
cutting salaried employees to focus on this. Because then
But at the same time, we saw Volkswagen and Tesla and Rivian also announce that they were cutting positions right now because of the economy.
well, that's because of the economy. Ford is doing it
Yeah,
because they actively want to
go
pursue
electric.
their electrification of it, and they're huge. You can be deployed and see a very old model Ford with a gun rack mounted to the back of the bed. Like they
Yeah,
have a presence literally everywhere. So they're one of the few companies that, because of the transition, will be around for another 100 years. But to lay off your workers, salaried or unsalaried, regardless, and then just say, "Oh, we're doing this for ICE." No, you were gonna, or EVs, you were going to lay them off regardless. You just had to either blame it on something else or be real and transfer it over. And that's the thing that I wanted to be. I brought it up when they released the Lightning. I love the Lightning. Everything I see about it, I hope to have my reservation come through soon so I could just flex. But
right.
you cannot promote, since only because the administration's pro union, to be like, yeah, we got a union member right here. And then the union person's like, I get to stand for a photo op. But then later, your people are thrown on the chopping block again. And so that's from a business standpoint. That was interesting for me to see. And honestly, the only time that the union has ever been one in one with the corporate was the pandemic when they were still trying to make vehicles. So yeah, they don't got nothing to
Yeah,
make. They didn't got no jobs or vehicles to sell. So it's I think it's a bad move for Ford to let this come out in public. I really wish they would have said, we have to cut these jobs. We're going to retrain and move them. Similar to previous administrations go, we have to shut down coal plants, of course, because coal is killing you in the process of mining
yeah.
it.
We taught them how to install solar panels. We taught them how
Yes,
to be
you teach them that
plumbers.
way,
Blah
and you're
blah
training them
blah.
that way. Yeah,
But they always announce the two together. They come back later and say, "Oh, hey, we found something for all these 1,000 people to do."
yeah, and that's the strange thing about Ford. It's the way they're presenting it is terrible, and Ford has the ability to legitimately surpass Tesla if they keep pushing, especially with the prices of Tesla going up, the random things that are being snatched away,
Well, I mean,
subscription
everybody's
models.
prices are going up, and everybody's decontenting. So Ford's shares tumbled 39% this year through Tuesday, which is interesting because usually the stock market rejoices when people get fired, and this time they did not. The other thing to point out is, again, my running theory is that Ford Model E is being set up to, like, as I said right here, they're reshaping so basically that they need the Ford Blue Ice to make Model E work. But my theory is they're going further than that, and then once Model E can stand on its own, they're going to jettison Ford Blue Ice and let it run as its own company. They're just going to gut it and say, yep,
And,
they make all of our poison,
and
and
that's
this
that's
is
even a
a new
better
company.
move because now I would hate to say this, you're creating more jobs, but you can fine tune both sections. So you can make a less polluting ICE, or even say, hey, move ICE into a pure hybrid section. So there's still your engine there, but it's your transitional period. So you cannot eliminate ICE altogether. But if you say a compromise, hey, we got hybrids over here in their own division and pure electric over here, there's a common ground there. It's possible, and you
Hybrids
still
are
make those
ices.
supercars.
Stick them over in blue ice.
Yeah,
But the other part of that for me with the going further was that then that also allows them to ditch all of the dealers. So they're out of all those agreements because, hey, you made that agreement with Ford Blue Ice. We're Ford Model E, and we don't have dealers.
And here's the crazy thing is you still have to deliver it to dealers or straight up. If you can deliver to a reputable dealer who's successful, who knows what they're doing, who will give it to you as you ordered it, it's beautiful. So there's still a process for all these people rather than resource it back from, other people who have it with you. We have to crowdsource it together. So, I mean, we've heard stories where dealerships are just here. This is what you pay for online. Here you go.
Yeah,
I've
like Sergio's dealers, but then you've
Yes,
got the greedy ones that want to do market adjustment fees of, hey, your truck is $79,000. How
and
about a
you can go after them.
$79,000 market adjustment fee?
Yeah, and you go
What?
after them. Ford's already said they're going to go after them for it.
But
So
worse than that, Ford is no longer going after them. Ford is only selling their electric cars online. They're still using dealers right now, but since they're already online, it'll be very easy for Model E to just deliver straight to the customer.
true, true.
Rather
Now,
than
now it's up to the dealerships to check themselves now.
it's too
It's
late.
very much up to the dealerships.
If they go any further, what incentive does Model E have to re-rope themselves into this problem that Ford Blue Ice has?
Going back to somebody, because there are people who go to dealerships just to, um, there are people who will go just to dealerships to have that interpersonal connections,
Mhm.
or just basically saying, I need, or they happen to be driving out and they needed an update. They're going to stop by there, get their update. Like I said, you can make the dealership a multifaceted. You
You
can charge
can
here,
if you want to, but some people just want to keep milking. They don't
yeah,
want
or
to
a
change.
cafe.
But
You have to.
our first Tesla was actually Luna. She bought a blanket from the mall, and I was in there looking at the car. She was actually in the mall for something else, and then I went in because there was a car in a store. I was like, "Oh, this is cool," and so you don't need the dealers to still have the dealer experience.
Oh, oh, true, but at the same point, dealers need to move away from selling cars to selling the experience. To say, hey, there's a cafe here. Hey, if you need help or have questions, uh, start engaging your customers instead of being a dealership, as it's commonly called. So
Hmm.
once you and everybody, the used car dealership has been demonized since day one.
They earned it.
So, I mean, if you can find a way to change your pivot your standpoint, then you become good. Have those town meetings where you're sitting in front of other people saying, "Hey, what do you want us to do?" and adjust that. You can make that. Like, I don't care what nobody says. You can make that. There are people who walk into something blind, and if I can trust the dealership to be like, "You tell me everything I need," without somebody go, "Oh, that's not true," and then they can source it to you, then my trust happens again. It's like going to a business. So
So Dawood says, "I said this was coming. Admittedly, faster than I expected, with Ford only making 10% of the EVs Tesla's making." And with that, Dawood, I want to point out another story we have coming up about Volkswagen. So yes. And Eddie's asking Model E equals Lightning. No, no. Model E is the company, the division of the
electrification,
company. So Ford Blue is all their legacy fossil commercial garbage. Not that
maybe.
commercial is garbage, but it's not EV for the most part. But Model E is all their new stuff, including the new Ford E Transit, which is also a commercial vehicle. And so you got Mach E, Lightning, and the Transit E right now. But all of their future electric vehicles will be under the Model E brand as well. I think why they called it Model E is because remember when Ford blocked sex? Well, they were going to have the Model S, the Model E, the Model X, and the Model Y.
Block
Well,
sex.
they did. Ford said, we own that trademark. And then somebody said, oh, well, you're not using it. You probably should prove that you're using it. So Ford's using it.
I, I,
So we got a 3 instead of an E out of Tesla. But I think that might be the reason they went with that cumbersome name because they just got done fighting over that they own it, and so hey, we've proven we own this thing. Let's use it. And
I think Ford Blue Oval should move towards your supercars, your race cars, the highly niche items that are out there rather than consumers. They should slowly shift that way, in my opinion.
it looks
Somewhere.
like they're going to just go for a schism, which is fine. It makes sense business wise. They can ditch their dealer network. They can ditch everything they want, everything they don't want. They can just shove it in Ford Ice, and then close the doors. And then, oh no, that's another company that did X, Y, and Z. Sorry, you go sue them. Just like old GM and new GM, before the government bought them and released them. Uh, hey,
Well, that's why she's the leader.
Mary Led, baby. All right, so let's see. What's this other private article we have here? We got 3 of them in a row. I bet you they're all you. And somebody's running around without a muffler on my street. That sounds great. And by great, I mean sounds like a freaking jerk. Oh, this was for our friend Travis. All right, so everybody keeps saying how the price of cars is going up, price of cars is going up. EVs are even more so because their components are hard to obtain right now. Hyundai is planning a new small electric car for less than $20,000. One of the arguments was that this wouldn't do well in the U.S. because even though we want cheap cars, we don't want small cars. We want big old land tanks. The Honda Fit, the Toyota Corolla, all those things, they still sell. It may not be as profitable as it should be, and it may not be as numerous as it should be, but I think that something like this would do well here, especially as folks have finally started to realize that they're constantly getting yanked around with these gas prices, and not just gas prices, but that's what triggers most of these people to do the switch. And being able to afford to get out of gas is something I think is important. Same way that you saw me getting upset where the cheaper cars didn't have basic safety for crashes. So
Yes.
because you have less money shouldn't mean that you have to pollute to get around. And yes, public transportation is a thing, but in this country, in this continent, public transportation is generally garbage. You have to be in select cities and select population densities to be able to do it, and so it's not for everyone. But milk, wake up. No, all right. Good night. Dreaming about milk, I guess.
I do think if they switch to electric, they can have better transit in semi-rural areas. We hit suburbs a little bit further.
Yeah, it just takes a will. Public services are not businesses; they don't have to turn a profit. As soon as you get that mindset out, it takes care of a lot. I'm not saying be wasteful of the tax money, but you can't expect everything to turn a profit.
Amtrak still hasn't turned profit yet.
It shouldn't.
As a company, it has a lot
You
of
just
government
bopped your head,
subsidies.
baby. She jumped and hit her head on the edge of the desk. You awake now? You still want milk? Yeah. She's trying to get the vocal cords and the lips to do the thing. Milk, yes. Yes, ilk. Milk. No, milk. All right. She's got the bottle. I think this will do well. I don't think it'll do as well as it should do, and hopefully it does well overseas. Next article.
As long as the Hyundai is sold across the nation, because the Onyx and the other two are just these select states, and I'm like,
Yeah, but don't forget the select states keep increasing. What are they at 13 or 19 now?
yeah. So
Arizona just joined in or something like that. Nevada, one of them. Virginia and Delaware were up there too.
yes, Eddie, I agree with the high school and college students. We
Yeah,
had
but not just them, but you also got the folks on the lower income, and folks that are just starting out in their path. And then you've also got folks on a fixed income. So say you're retired and you don't want to be bothered with the rat race anymore, but you still need a car to do your thing. If you can get an electric car for 20 grand versus having to spend more of it, 40, 50, 80 grand, there's a lot you could do with that money when you're not making any more.
that is true. And budgeted right.
Mm-hmm.
Spoil the grandkids.
So this one was another copy of the Ford article, and they said, "I guess this is good and bad news. Why can't they just retrain those employees to work on EVs? I guess this makes EVs take less workers." So they agree with you, Dan. All right. So next up, I've got copy link, paste, and go. So this is from Yahoo Finance. I'm going to pause that. Tesla was forced to pay $115,000 for owner's $115,000 car over its dangerous autopilot, but don't expect it to do this for everyone. The reasoning is this was in Germany, and they don't have the same level of tort that we do. Each case is weighed differently over there than us being able to point to and say, hey, Green versus guy who hit him with a truck a bunch of times. So I should be able to get the same thing because I was hit by a truck a couple times. No. And then their level of damages tend to be not to the level that we experience here. So regional court in Munich ordered the car maker to reimburse the customer the bulk of the 112,000 euros she paid for her Model X because the autopilot could not navigate city streets properly. Autopilot was never sold to navigate city streets. What year was this car? And phantom braking issues caused a massive danger to urban safety. Phantom braking was annoying, but anyone that hit you for phantom braking was following too closely. The court chose not to accept Tesla's argument that autopilot was never designed for that environment. Instead, it ruled that customers cannot be expected to manually switch the system on and off again constantly. I don't know any interstates that go through cities, even in Germany. The Autobahn is distinctly separate from the local roads, is my understanding, just like our interstate is here. In fact, ours is copied from theirs, isn't it? So, while it may be tempting to think Tesla is now potentially liable, as other customers could come forward, German jurisprudence does not work like that. All right, so furthermore, damage claims against the companies are generally capped in Germany and never reach U.S. levels. However, the case does highlight the often misleading way Tesla's marketed self-driving features in the past. No, they haven't. Just because you see the name, I don't know any owners, except for the ones that are out with their hand out, that make that mistake. And the backseat bandit, screw that guy.
That is true. And the ones that purposely let it mess up so it can be learning capabilities. Nobody told you to truly crash a car.
Yeah, those ones annoy me. It's like, how did you get into this program before me, and you can just let it do that stuff? You make us all look bad when Dan O'Dowd comes through trying to run for Senate, making it look like our cars are dangerous.
Definitely bad.
They take the clips out of context. Anyway, so the lazy journalism about the misleading ways. NHTSA has moved a step closer to recalling Tesla's equipped with such self-driving features last month after an examination of an accident. After examination of accident data indicated it was undermining driver supervision. What?
Don't they have whole campaigns against distracted drivers?
Well, there's that,
So
and then the daggum car is watching you. If you pick up your phone, it's like, nope.
Somebody's watching me,
Mm-hmm.
and I got no privacy. Oh,
Exactly. But please don't get me have to pay these guys for the lyrics. I didn't get the money for that. Infamous last words. Most rivals from the auto industries have tempered their enthusiasm for autonomous driving. That does not include Musk. For years, he said it's coming. Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with this lawsuit. I think it was the comments that they got me.
She agrees. It was the comments.
I don't see any comments on this.
What did the Elon tweet say?
Where?
Higher up.
Listen.
Right there.
Autopilot was trapped in a local maxim, single labeling. You think labeling single camera images uncorrelated in time? No, it's not. It was one of his FSC tweets.
Okay, so it looks like it applies today too.
Yeah,
Or they pulling
it's
from something
been
crazy.
for a minute. More milk? Yeah. Okay. Here. All right. So yeah, they're late for 2017. There was somebody who commented on the fact that every other car has this, and it either automatically turns itself off, but does not turn itself back on, or it does like the Tesla, and it'll just keep doing its best, and you have to take it out.
But then again, isn't it
But it's
non-disclosure?
Germany. It's Germany again.
Yeah, but isn't it saying, hey, it's your car, be ready to take
You're the
over at
driver,
any given
daggone
time.
it.
Like, I don't get what's the difficult part about that.
When there's money to be had, or failure to take responsibility for your own actions.
Trust me, I love my car not to be like, it's a work in progress, but let me go ahead and trust it 100%. That's crazy to me.
It tells you every time you turn it on, don't do this. All right, so NIO confirmed that they have a 150 kilowatt hour solid state battery for delivery this year with a in Q4 with flexible upgrades for users. The battery will give the NIO ES8 a range of 850 kilometers, and the ES6 a range of 900 kilometers, and the ET7 a range of over 1,000 kilometers. That's impressive. And the fact that it's solid state for sale this year, because it didn't seem that was going to be commercially viable anytime soon when you looked at how long Toyota has been pursuing it and throwing money at it, saying it's coming, and then it doesn't come.
It'll be there.
So NIO was saying, yeah, we're still doing it. It'll be ready in time. NIO has not announced their supplier, and rumors of who that supplier has surfaced from time to time. The pack has a capacity of 150 kilowatt hours and a density of 360 watt hours a kilogram. Not bad.
Yes.
The other cool thing about solid state batteries, if this is meeting all the hype, is that they are less likely to degrade, and they are more stable for things like fire and basically all the benefits we see from lithium iron phosphate with all the and then some.
Without the negatives.
Without the weight, so it's like a regular lithium ion battery, the NMCs or the high nickels or whatever, without some of their flaws. But we'll see which one they actually give us, because again, Toyota has been pursuing this forever, and they've been saying how great it is, and I'm just tired of all these battery things that are coming in the future. But the fact they claim to have theirs on sale, we'll see. We'll see. My car was supposed to self-drive itself in 2017, right? So eventually.
Elon is on CP time from South Africa, so
He's super optimistic and thinks highly of his and his people's skills, and then he gives the deadlines that he gave his people to the world, and and that gets him in trouble. That gets him in trouble. Exactly. So Eddie's asking if solid state is going to happen or not. Well, we'll find out in less than 5 months, because anything more than 5 months, and well, that's not Q4 of this year anymore, is it? It's sometime next year or later. So if NIO, I think, they're an electric car company. They say they got it. We'll have to take them at their word until they prove us wrong. So this one was a little bit weird for me. I thought it was a prank or a Photoshop or whatever when I first saw the picture. It is not. It is legit. And this is not for Tesla cars. This is for Tesla shipping. So this is at the Mexican border with Texas. One of them, one of the border crossings with the Mexican border with Texas, and they have a exclusive lane just for Tesla parts to come through. Let's take a look at this.
For parts to go into Mexico or coming out of Mexico?
Coming out of Mexico into Austin.
Okay.
Or towards Austin, I should say. Less than a year from its transition to a California-based company, they struck deals with 6 suppliers located in Mexico, and the constant logistics route that move EV parts and materials to the new company's manufacturing facility located just outside Austin incentivized the need for a Tesla dedicated lane to make things move quickly and efficiently. I wonder how much that cost them. The Columbia Solidarity checkpoint has 6 lanes, with the second from the left showing an all too familiar Tesla logo spelled out for the drivers to see clearly in the distance. So let's see here. Where is that? Columbia Solidarity checkpoint. I'm gonna look that up in a minute. And it was a simple incentive. The government says they'll do more going forward. They only have 6 lanes though, so I guess you got to be top shipper to get your own dedicated lane from them.
Still one lane, but that much. You're bringing jobs into both locations. So.
Exactly. All the suppliers they mentioned are in the same the town on the border now. They had 0 before Tesla moved to Texas.
Oh, I wonder how politics is going to play in this part now. Money rules everything.
It will. Where is the GM lane? GM is the leader in dedicated lanes by 2025. The president has decreed they lead to get in button line ahead of everybody else. They led with lead PB instead of leading. All right, so let's look up this Columbia Solidarity checkpoint and see where it is here. Maps, I guess. Ah, well, he's spitting at me. Hold on, I gotta dry you off. You're getting mad I took the milk away.
I will show you, Daddy.
I told you I could spit. No, she can't spit. She had the nipple in her mouth, and she was able to generate some pressure, and then that was able to get us both squirted with milk. All right, so let's try Google Maps. I don't often change the default on that because I like mapping things. Dude. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, indeed. All right, so here you go. All right, so this might be it. Let's take a look at the. What? You need a burp? Oh. All right, so this doesn't really look like it. Mexican logistics. It could be. Yeah, it's near the border.
Which one are we looking at here?
The Solidarity crossing, where Tesla's got their own dedicated lane now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty cool. So here's the U.S. border.
Mm-hmm.
And either San Antonio, Houston. I don't know my Texas geography. Where's Austin at?
Just north of Houston there. You're going way too far. Come to the west. West.
There it is.
West. There he is.
Okay, so it's not that far. Not that far at all. So that makes sense. That's pretty cool stuff. So then, if I don't know if they took a car through here or if they are allowed to. Nope. Usually it snaps to someplace close when you do that. That's kind of close. Yes.
Not a lot going on there. So wait, so what's Tesla doing down in Mexico?
They got part suppliers now.
Oh, okay. So is this different from what the GM's big announcement that they're spending $1 billion to build to get the Blazer, the Blazer,
Yeah, the
the
Blazer was
EV,
pretty cool too. Yeah.
but they're going to be building it in Mexico.
Yes. Yes, sir. How can I help you? Rah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's what's wrong. You want mommy to change diaper? She patted me in the chest. Yes. Okay. Okay. Mommy didn't come change your diaper. I'd do it, but we're on air. All right. So then there was a New York Post article about NASCAR launching an electric car racing series in 2023, according to leaked documents.
Okay.
Hopefully they do it. We'll see.
Yeah.
Neo confirms the 150 kilowatt solid state batteries. We just talked about that. Link. Paste and go. The EV brands rank behind premium brands in terms of customer service. Really? Who could have seen that coming? The EV brands, they don't treat you like premium brands do. They used to.
EV brands rank behind premium brands. Isn't that what makes a premium brand a premium brand? Is the customer service. Isn't this kind of how it's supposed to be?
Yeah, exactly. But
And what are the EV brands? I mean, the only brand that's pure EV is Tesla. Is that
right, and
everybody
they
else?
were probably dragging it down for everybody because their customer service is not where it needs to be.
But I mean, I don't get it. So I mean, like the what is it? The e-tron. I mean, that's an Audi thing. Do the e-tron owners get worse service than the than the A4 owners?
They can't because that's still under the Audi brand.
Right. So I don't
I mean,
get
so you've
that.
got Tesla and Rivian and Neo.
Right.
Who else? Lucid.
Lucid, sure.
Yeah, but I would hope Lucid would be on the premium side because
That's what
they're
they're
going
branding
for it.
themselves as. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so they use 70 best practice behaviors to measure performance, including in-person, web response categories, salesperson attentiveness, availability of financing options, and how quickly a dealership responded to an online inquiry. So not having dealerships will probably make you fail a lot of these, wouldn't it? So the 4 all-electric brands include Tesla, Lucid, Polestar, and Rivian. Yeah, they all are having troubles with this.
I guess. Well, that's Volvo, but all right.
Polestar runs it separately from Volvo, even though it used to be a Volvo mark, the little performance brand. So they all ranked in the bottom quarter of the 25 brands that were included in the survey. Rivian finished dead last, with Polestar finishing 24th, Lucid at 23rd, and Tesla came out the best. What? How did Tesla come out the best at 21st?
21. There was somebody slid in between Tesla and Lucid. Who was 22nd?
I am curious. I hope they give us the whole chart. But like from the mixed bag I see in all the owner groups I'm a part of, Tesla sometimes gets it right, sometimes gets it wrong. And as you and me can attest to, they used to treat us like freaking kings.
Yes.
And then they started treating us like thieves.
Dirt. Why are you bothering me?
Exactly.
What do you mean your car doesn't work? That's your problem. You bought it.
Right. I would say the ultimate low point was in the mid 2018 to 2019, pretty much right after I picked up the Model X. And from late 2020 to now, they've been making small improvements in my area, but they have their own little fumbles. Still to this day. The group I'm in for South Carolina, they failed to retain our mobile tech, and he went on to greener pastures. And there was another place where they were just sending everybody from mobile into the service center. I don't think it was the same one. They care and they try, but they don't seem to always have the ability the autonomy to do what they need to do to keep the customer happy. And other times, you used to get this all the time with lower ranking Tesla employees. They would just make up a story and and hope you bought their crap. And thankfully, I haven't seen that happen too much lately. But it was a matter of, because they couldn't escalate, that they would just try and handle it there. But rather than just throwing up their hands, they would try to tell you something rather than saying, "Hey."
Yeah, I guess it also depends on your particular situation.
Right, right. Some of them never had a dip.
Right. I mean, I just happen to be in a spot where, I'm within mobile ranger range at my office and my home. So
Mhm.
if I have a problem, ranger just comes by, and then now we have a service center, one city over from us, and we always just arrange any repairs on a day that I can drop the car and that my wife and I are both available, so we don't
Right.
need to have a Uber or a loaner.
Oh yeah.
But if you're not in that situation, I can imagine you call and they tell you can't get a loaner. You got to drive 3 hours to get to the nearest service center, and there's no ranger.
Yeah,
Or the car is actually
and no Uber's going to take you 3 hours either.
right.
Or you have car seats, and if you have more than one
yeah.
car seat, the Uber doesn't want it. They see you coming, and they're like, unless it's a van.
Or you have a problem where it's actually undrivable.
Right.
Then you're in a very rough situation. So
The policy at all of my service centers up here on the East Coast is that if it's going to take more than a day, they'll typically give you a car. If it's going to take more than a week, they'll definitely give you a car. But otherwise, you get some Uber credits.
Right.
I just had mobile service. What? Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. This week, the Moto's window wouldn't go down, and
Right. Oh yeah.
we talked about it last week. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this week they came through. $320 later, it's working again. This is my first mobile tech with a Model X. He had a black Model X 2016 with the big wheels on it, and
Okay.
I looked out the window and I was like, "Wait, what?" Because it looked like my car. Just the sun wasn't shining, and so the free black and the obsidian black, they look the same if the sun isn't bringing out my sparkles. And so then they're both up there with the wing up. I'm like, which one's mine? There it is. And he ended up having to replace the window regulator because the motor for the window is built into that, and it just locked up. And but it's up and running again.
Cool.
I love mobile service. I don't know why more places don't have it. Oh yeah, Lee also had a service this week as well. You want to tell us about it, Lee?
Five Teslas. Okay, Lee.
She had to specify.
This is a family show, Lee. This was from last week. This
is that the electric tractor?
Electric tractor, yeah.
Nice.
Was at Napa's Earth Day event.
Yeah.
That was Soul Track. I don't think that was the same brand you were showing. This is Soul Track tractor.
Yeah. Lee, I'm gonna call you on my phone, and I'll patch you through on my headset. So let's do that. Or it's supposed to. We're gonna try this.
Okay.
Hello, Lee.
Hey, Lee.
Hey.
You're online with Kacey and Friends. Happy Sunday.
Yes, so I had to clarify with the family show. I understand.
So tell us about your service.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. So how was your Tesla mobile service?
It's a delay on my end.
Oh.
My service was, yeah, I'm hearing myself in my ear. My service went pretty well. His name was Mitch. He kept laughing at me because I was like, Mitch, Mitch, and I didn't want to switch it up and actually mess the M up and call and use the B, but I was like, okay, Mitch, Mitch. But Mitch came in with a Model S, dark blue. I think Kacey, I sent you a picture, right?
I think you did. Let me see if I can't pull that.
I think I sent the picture and there was also some video. So Mitch came in to replace my air filters.
Because those Model 3 air filters, they're deep down in there.
And I wish that I stayed outside because I sat out there for a moment, but he went back in his car and sat in the AC. And I was
Right.
like, he said it was going to take a while because he had to run the heater and the air for about 20 or so minutes. And so I just went back in and was taking care of some things. And I was like, you know what? I could turn the camera on. I could see. And then I saw him going back to the car. By the time I went back outside, he was done. I was like, wait, you're done?
Yeah.
30 minutes just to run the heat and air. And so he showed me the filters and he inquired how often do I replace them because they're supposed to be replaced every year. And I kind of just looked down on the ground like this is my first replacement because the car is I did buy it in 2018, so we all know what year this is. So
Right.
So yeah,
he's
so
got one of
there.
the newer ones. Look at those like plaid style wheels, and it's got the graphic on it.
Yeah,
So-
for these to be work vehicles, they look personalized. They look really nice.
Yes.
So Lee, were you getting some funk out of your AC when you turned it on?
Yes, there it was a scent that had came out.
Okay.
And I know before I thought that they used to cover the air filters. I thought those were covered, but I did have to pay. But it was only my service was like 140 for everything. And then I asked if he can hook up my Century, and I had like a backup. Casey, you know, I have a 2 terabyte backup drive.
Right.
He was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know how to do that." And then I was talking to Drew. Drew's like, "Yeah, if it's not a Tesla product, they're really not going to touch it."
Exactly.
And it was proven he didn't touch it, but he did touch the USB. He did set it up, but for some reason it's not even working. So I don't know what's going on with that. So that's frustrating on my end.
Yeah.
But I had some other issues where I think Casey, we talked about how my phone automatically disconnects.
Right.
So he was trying to figure that out. But he said, I'm not going to be out here for 2 hours trying to figure out your phone. If it's something that just won't connect,
Yeah.
then we could do something. But if it does connect, at least it's working 90% of the time. Well, who said it was 90%?
Hold up, Lee.
And
Was
so
was your Mobile Ranger black?
He was not.
no.
It
Mitch
sounds
was
like
right.
it. I ain't about to be out here for 2
Wait.
hours trying to fix up your
I
phone.
Yeah, exactly. Kate, I took a picture.
You did.
Casey, I have a picture.
Tesla's real touchy about showing pictures of their people, so I didn't share it.
Okay. Well, thank you. So yeah, so no. Mitch had no melatonin to him at all.
He had a tan. That might just be
Mitch
working
was
outside.
Mitch was clear on what. So we did take a test drive. We did drive it around a couple of times. We did set up for my garage to because I have it when I come in for it to pull up, but for it to automatically close. He did set that up. So he did do some techie stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was cool. He was really nice. I wish that I would have asked about the recall for the backup camera. So I wanted to hurry up and get that done because I guess once you're out of warranty, you probably like foreign to them. So
Pretty much. Oh, they will take your cash quick. He's like, hey, which card do you want on file? I'm like, what?
And I will say that my car was hit in 2020 and I had service done to it. But I guess the insurance companies did not take care of the bill. So when I called in this service, that last bill came in and they said, well, you still owe. No, I don't. That was 2 years ago. Y'all coming at me for an invoice that's 2 years old?
It's
No.
also too
So
much.
you guys,
Because when it's too much, they actually cut your supercharging off.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
they haven't, and I have the free supercharging. So
Right.
it's and
Cut it
and
off.
he said if you hadn't called in for the service, your this invoice probably wouldn't have been caught.
Right.
So they were like, we have to get in contact with Rockville Service Center because I don't think that pretty much that they're not taking care of the invoices. And I said, well, that's not my problem.
Paperwork. They have the worst paperwork. I'm like, it's all digital. How do you guys lose it?
I was like, that's not my problem. You need to follow up with them. They said, well, we'll follow up with you if anything is owed. Nothing will be owed for me. You need to contact the insurance company. So, but other than that, my 5-star. He showed up on time.
Yeah.
He was polite. He sounded like he had an attitude at first, but as I did a couple of jokes, he kind of loosened up.
There you go.
He helped me with while he was there. It was like going to the doctor when you know that there are several things that are wrong. You get there and everything works.
Yeah.
So, and then as soon as they leave, then it goes back to normal.
Exactly.
But the service was good. I can't complain.
There you go. We had our guy, same situation. It was like 100 degrees out. Both our cars are black, so he's in the black Model X and servicing the black Model X, and it's like 100 degrees. They got the helicopter windshield. They got all the glass, and I was like, "Hey, you want a bottle of water?" And I was like, "Normally they turned it down." He's like, "Yeah." I went in. The bottles were all gone. Luna drank the last one, and like I had just got done telling him that Luna and the baby have COVID. That's why I was wearing a mask, and I did like a standoff hostage negotiation trade to get the key to him. I set it down. He picked it up because I had scratchy throat and all that, so I wanted to make sure I didn't get anybody else ill. So I said, "Well, how about a cold Coke Zero? Would you take that?" He said, "Yeah, it's cold. Yeah, let's go." I put that on the seat, and he picked it up, and he's like, "This is great, thank you." And then I went back inside because it was hot as heck, and I had work to do as well, so finished my job. And then he sent me a text like, "It's all done. I put the car back, and the key is where it needs to be." And so then I went down to verify and get the key. He's like, "Oh, by the way, which of these cars do you want to use?" Like, "Oh, yeah, this takes money," and they got it quick. Yeah, but I love mobile service. It's always been. I've only had one mobile service that was not stellar, and that was really the fault of the service center. They gave the tech bad notes. So I was working in a facility that you weren't allowed to bring cell phones, and you weren't allowed to have any guests. So they didn't put any of that down on my ticket, or they did, but not in the part where the mobile tech could see. So the tech went to my house and called me a bunch of times, and I didn't answer because I didn't have a cell phone, and I wasn't there. So then she left, and then I got Then I called them like, "Hey, I'm waiting on the tech. What's going on?" Oh, we see what happened. She said that she couldn't reach you, and then we got it set up for another day. This tech, he showed up at the armed guards and was like, "Hey, I'm here to fix the car." And they called me at the gate. They're like, "This guy's got all these tools and it's got a company car. Did you call them?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Well, meet him at the visitor center because all these guns. We don't want people just in our space." And so then I moved the car out to the visitor center, and they swapped out my my first 12-volt lead battery on the Model X. And then when it came up again this year, that's why I switched to the OMU. Link in the description below. Yeah. So that was our mobile service experience. All right. So let's see. What's our next article here? I've got. Oh yes. So how many of you guys out there have a Cybertruck reservation? Well, I've got one, and I think Dan's got one.
And I've got one.
Okay, so you've got one. You're one of those guys out there.
One of those guys out there.
I guess you're on mute.
Oh, okay.
I
heard about this one.
Yes. So one of these places came up with. I don't know if the call dropped or if Lee canceled. I just heard a little beep in my ear. Thank you for coming on, Lee. Yeah. So this place made an article and we're not sure if it was another case of poor research like we saw. What was the last one we saw like this very recently with the Chinese new technology where they were claiming that
yes.
that BYD outsold Tesla, and so a similar level of actual journalism went into this initial report where they were saying that the Cybertruck in California, Cybertruck in Australia was canceled, and if you asked for it, you could get your money back. That was not the case because you've always been able to ask for it and get your money back, and Tesla has not said that the Cybertruck is canceled. So Tech A.
Well,
Anytime you start getting conspiracy theories, they kick you off the air.
right.
All right, so now I need to reshare the screen. There we go. So, as I was saying, the it's not canceled, and you've always been able to get your money back. And techau.com or techau.com.au, they did some actual journalism and found out the real story here. So they're saying in this article, it suggests that 2 months after the Cybertruck was wiped from Tesla Australia's main website, here's the first issue. The Cybertruck is still on Tesla Australia's main website, as seen in the screenshots below. So they brought the receipts. That's the background too. That looks kind of cool with the website. What actually happened 2 months ago was the removal of the reservation page, which happened in so many other places as well. It offered details on the configurations. Today's Cybertruck page is still available on the website, but now instead of offering a Get Updates button, details matter. Instead, it's now offering a Get Updates button instead of a Place a Deposit button. When we first saw that in, I think I showed you guys, it was in German, and it said Get Updates in German instead of Give Us Money in German. So here it is in English in Australia. For those willing to act, for those actually willing to do some diggings, aka your job, ooh, shade, or a quick Google. Oh man, and this is what we keep saying. You got to keep each other honest, and that's one way to do it. I mean, that's not the way I would do it. It's the way I'd want to do it, not the way I would do it. You can find the Cybertruck motor vehicle pre-order agreement in Australia. Terms and conditions is still available on the Tesla website. That article goes on to say Tesla Australia finally confirmed it will refund deposits from the Cybertruck after the electric pickup was pulled from sale locally 2 months ago. This specially crafted sentence combines with the headline to make it sound as if Tesla is canceling the Cybertruck for Australia, and many on social media are now interpreting it that way. What it actually says is that if you cancel your Cybertruck pre-order, you'll get your money back. Yep, that's always been the deal of a refundable deposit. Nothing changed today. This has absolutely no bearing on the future plans for Tesla to offer the vehicle in Australia. And they go on to say about the $150 deposit, and Drive told Tesla will refund deposits paid in Australia for Cybertruck. It's not automatic, and customers must apply to get their money back. Yeah, because it's not canceled. Here's your money back for this thing that we're still making. We don't know who's in line anymore. How would that play out? Here we see the same conflation of data that are simply not connected. Customers would get their $150 back, but only if they chose to cancel, which has always been the case. And the second sentence adds the confusion when it suggests refunded deposits are not automatic and customers must apply to get their money back. Automatic refunds are not in place because Cybertruck for Australia is not being canceled. No customer received mails from Tesla. That's a pretty obvious step they would take if the vehicle had no prospect of coming to Australia. Yeah, Tesla's pretty big about doing that really quick. They'll email you and be like, "Hey, here's what's going on." Like with Marcus and EV Smoke, they tried to get him to cancel or change plans, and they didn't say that what he ordered was actually canceled, so he held out. Then they said, "Hey, what you actually ordered is canceled. Do you want your money back?" And he and several others finally got them to do the right thing, and he got EV Smoke for the correct price, and it was finally delivered, and now it's out there burning up the tracks.
So someone went way out of their way to create some stinking clickbait.
Yes. Yeah, because like the author of this is suggesting is that It's either massively lazy or massively malicious.
I think the massively malicious.
It could be. And Eddie is saying the cyber ute in Australia. That's probably exactly what they
I'm,
call it.
I've always never attribute to conspiracy what can be as easily contributed to incompetence.
Yes. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And people are lazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Tech AU reminds you, do not cancel your order. There is no cancellation that occurred today. This article is poorly constructed, joining facts to create the impression that it's been canceled by Tesla when it is not. The net result is that people could be tricked into actually canceling their order, losing their slot in the queue, ultimately
That's
not
the
buying a
trick.
Cybertruck. Exactly.
That's the trick. I want to move up in the queue to get my truck sooner.
Either they
I'll
want to
get
move up in the
everybody.
queue, or they're a short seller, hoping that would actually do the trick. That would be how I would attribute it to malice.
Probably
Or
short seller.
trolling. Yeah, short seller or troll.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Or
I made
trolls.
5,000.
Trolls have fun with this stuff.
I made 5,000 people cancel their orders.
Yay.
You know what would be
But no.
really terrible is if enough of them did do that, and it made it so they didn't make an Australian Cybertruck. Because remember, they were actually the second place that Tesla was looking. Because when the folks in Europe were like, "Hey, we can drive pickups," and Elon's like, "Oh, we might do the Cyber Badger or whatever."
Yeah.
The Wombat, the Wolverine or whatever, the small one, and
The wombat.
right,
The
and
wombat.
and then the folks in Australia were like, "Hey, wait up! We have wide open spaces and we love pickup trucks."
Right.
And
We love.
Elon said, "Okay, yeah." Well, I mean, Canada is North America, so they'll get it, but Europe
but
is
Australia.
still,
Yeah.
yeah,
Australia's
Australia's got it.
is American Europe.
Exactly.
Got everything except the guns.
They had them, and now they don't.
They had exactly. Need to learn a lesson from them. So yeah, I have a Cybertruck order. I put it in for the tri-motor,
Right.
but then I said, God, that's 20 grand more for stuff I don't really need. I don't tow anything, so I'm just like, you know what? So I dropped it down to the dual motor.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm thinking, now they're going to release the quad motor, and I'm thinking, man, if this is going to be my last car, why would I settle for less? I should just go up to the top. So now if I change my order, what happens? Do I lose anything more besides my spot in line? I don't think I can change my order at this point, can I?
If you can, don't touch it.
Right.
So I got in line. I was looking at the order they were going to make them in, and when my obligations on this current car would be settled. And so I picked the tri-motor just because he said it'd be last. And I was like, oh, well, I'll have a better job by then, and I'll give me time to save, and that one will be out of the way, blah, blah, blah. And then Elon said, we're going to do what we've always done and make the expensive one first. Like, crap. And then they came out with the quad motor. I'm like, well, because part of the other reason why I picked the tri-motor is like I want it to either match or exceed my current car. And so the Cybertruck did all of that minus one chair. And I don't actually need 7 chairs. I wanted 6, but I didn't want my Model X to have less storage space than my Model S because the 6 pretty seats, they don't fold. Whereas the 5 seats and the 7 seats, they fold.
Mm-hmm.
And so with those pretty seats just tucked up behind the 2 front seats, it has less storage room than the Model S.
It does, yeah. So I've got the 7-seater. I've got the old school original.
Oh, you got the pretty 7 seats, yeah.
Yes, pretty. It's nice. I mean, you do get that under seat storage, which is really nice. But when you want to load stuff in the back, I actually get more loading space in my wife's Model Y.
Yeah,
because her seat's full all the way flat.
Exactly. Yeah, and I was like, we wanted the towing package, which is why we didn't get the 22s, because with the 20-inch wheels, you can, and 19s too, you can tow 5,000 pounds. But with the 22s, you can only tow 3,500 pounds.
Yep.
Our original plan was I was going to do Uber Premium in it, or Uber Black, whatever it was at the time, and we were going to pull my wife's Thai food truck. So we got the tow vehicle, and then she quit her job, so we never bought the Thai food truck.
But these decisions are actually starting to become a reality for me because I've actually paid off my Model X. I don't know if I told you guys that last week. So
congrats.
Super excited
I don't know if you did or
about
not.
that.
Yeah, congrats.
Yay! Waiting for my pink slip now. But then we're looking to. No, I need to. Oh, what? They get a chair. But yeah, so then now I'm looking for my next car, which will be the Cybertruck whenever it comes out. But I'm pretty. Took me a couple of weeks before the design really hit me. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty far down on the list. So I'm not in a hurry but I'm not in a hurry to get it anyway.
Right. Yeah, I'm still not in a
So
rush, but I definitely want it, and I'm leaning towards the plaid now.
yeah.
'Cause I'm
But I'm
hoping it'll be my
thinking,
last car for a while.
right? You always say it's your last car until the next thing comes out. But yeah, but I'm thinking since they changed it, now that they have the quad motor, they're going to be more open on your ability to change your order. So I
Yeah,
mean, everyone that has a try is now going to have to change. So I mean, are they going to?
right. I was really
Um,
hoping they would cancel the try and just like, hey, here's the quad motor, and
I thought
everything
they
just
did.
moves up
They
one
did. So
motor.
they didn't cancel the try. I thought they were
Um,
going to.
I don't know. Did they say it? I hope they do, because like if they just move everybody up one motor, then that would be the best way to handle this.
Yeah, but
And
some
then
people
obviously
may
do
need to
like,
move down. Not
well,
everybody is
let
able
them
to
move
move.
down, but
Right.
don't force them down. Um,
Right.
what I'd
Right.
like
But
to see.
it's saying it may have to go both ways.
Oh, I see
Some
what you're saying.
people may
Yeah.
want to go up.
What
Some people just can't
I would
afford to go up.
Right. What I'd like to see them do is something similar to what Rivian did, but not the way Rivian did it. um, Pick a date and say, hey, here's the cutoff, and if your order was in by here, we already told you your FSD price was locked in, but now the car price is locked in, and we've moved everybody up one motor, and now what do you want to do? You're gonna finish paying it off. You're gonna go down a motor. You're gonna change your options. By the way, clicking any of these things, we're gonna go back and get you full price, but at least then you were warned.
Okay. The new price,
Yeah, the new full price,
whatever the
just
new
like they
price.
do. Like when for a while they fixed it now. Like if you're in the app, you can change your stuff without making your price jump up.
Mhm.
For most options, I think changing the paint color still makes it go crazy.
Right.
But if they do that, I think that would be the best way to get them some goodwill, and maybe they can go from 21 to number 5.
So yeah. So I'm pretty stuck. So if I decide when this thing comes out that I want to jump from the dual up to the quad, I'm going to be paying whatever the new price is.
Maybe, maybe.
Maybe. But
But we
even
may
though
all
then
be we may
we
all
all,
be paying
yeah,
the new price.
because we didn't have a locked in price. It was just a reservation.
It
We
was
didn't get
suggested, but like if you read the agreement, it was not locked.
right. I think they learned their lesson on that.
Yeah, yeah. But I think there's a way for them to do it, and I would love to see them do what feels right rather than what is to the letter of their agreement with us.
What feels right?
What feels
They are
right
still
for
a business.
for a for a customer.
They're gonna sell over a million trucks, fill over a million orders under market price.
Yes,
Just be-
do it.
I thought you wanted to see this company succeed.
Well, if they pre-ordered enough supplies in advance, they could have done it. But who knows if they actually did it or not? So
I mean, they weren't done with the development. They would have to pre-order stuff they didn't even know. Oh, we happen to need this now. We didn't buy any of those.
we didn't buy any of those. Huh? Hydrogen highway refueling stations, 20 million for 4 stations. Remember, it only costs about 300,000 to do a Tesla supercharger. I was actually looking for comments on that one. So this one is The Verge. SpaceX just broke its annual launch record, and it's only in July. 32 launches and counting. Remember, they were supposed to have a launch a week on average. So let's see. They pulled off 31 launches, which brought them to 32. And yeah, they're launching 52 missions over the course of the year. So some weeks they've had 2. So like that allows them to get there. But oh no, never mind. I thought that was related that they picked up a mission somewhere. But this is exciting. I haven't even caught them all this year because there's just so many of them. I usually watch them all. Yeah. What I usually do at this point is I just go to my notifications from YouTube and I just go back and rewatch them again. This does the
Okay.
trick. Yeah. All right, so if you have a ship, you can pay them $5,000 a month for some Starlink service.
Cool. It's gotta get a ship.
Although, right. Although if you're like just a personal user like me, you can pay way less on land, and $25 more if you're in an RV, like the one who said, "Hey Elon, look, this works for my RV." Elon's great. Give me $25 more a month. Elise says, "Congratulations, amazing not having a car note." Indeed.
It is. It is.
So the Tesla Semi has been spotted with impressive artwork on the highway, and based on the fact that the truck and trailer are painted, they're assuming that this is for some transit between Giga Nevada and Giga Fremont, or Tesla Fremont.
Somebody's got to call Marcus because that paint looks like EV smoke.
A little bit,
it's certainly an EV with smoke.
right? Corner of the market. Oh, here's the video. Definitely smoke. Wow. That's gonna be awesome when these things are on the road. Tesla Semi might be the automaker's most disappointing program to date, they said. Oh, it might have the most dollars of disappointed customers on the road, perhaps. Here are a few semi trucks on the road. One was spotted with an impressive paint job in California. Beautiful artwork indicates it's the same unit that Tesla brought to its Cyber Rodeo because that was being painted at the time of the Cyber Rodeo. Fair enough. It was westbound on Colfax, which suggests that Tesla is putting the truck to work moving cargo between many locations in Northern California and Giga Nevada outside of Reno. Okay. And Tesla always said they'd be their first customer, although Frito says otherwise. The automaker, Pepsi, operates a fairly large fleet of vehicles of its own operation. Yeah, because Tesla bought a whole trucking firm, so that makes sense. They have a lot of trucks on the road. Charian megawatt charging system was just released in final form a few weeks ago. The Tesla Semi did not go into production earlier. It is using this standardized charging connector protocol and plug. So there will be one charging system worldwide for heavy trucking and EVs. Kudos to Tesla for showing the world that heavy trucking EVs are possible and moving most of the world's major manufacturers to get their designs going. Yeah. What we didn't know for sure is, are they going to use MCS2 or MCS3 on Tesla Semi? But because it's not done yet, my speculation and hope is that they're going to use MCS3 and that we start to see that on everybody's trucks, as well as on the cloud go by. Oh, my production went down. As well as on ships and stuff, because we've talked about the ferry in the past. It's got the 21 CHAdeMO connectors, and one of our friends had a chance to ride it. She said that that those 21 CHAdeMOs, in her case, were all docked by robot, which is kind of cool. But that's 21 really large connectors with, was it 12 or so pins or more that could all break. So if they could just have the robot put in the one MCS connector or two MCS connectors, I think that would make more sense. Plus, it would mean that the ships and the drayage and everything on your port would just use one connector, except for the foreman's vehicle, which would use CCS or Tesla or whatever. That's pretty cool. So we can't wait to see the Tesla Semi in functionality, like production. All right, what do we got next? We've got Tesla completes Giga Berlin plant upgrades on schedule, as they said, and begins trial production of Model Y with locally made single-piece front castings and a single motor rear-wheel drive and white interiors. So Giga Berlin has made a structural pack Model Y in the past, but that Model Y was built with parts from Giga Texas and wherever they get the batteries from, either Kiddo Road or Texas, or who knows where they got the batteries from. But they made this car as practice, and now they made it locally. So the front cast and the structural pack came from Giga Berlin, which is awesome. And finally, the white interior, because everybody has cars with black interiors, but the white interior is kind of unique to Tesla for now. Some other cars have it, but when you see a white interior, you think Tesla.
Yes.
And so now you can pick the one you want and still have it locally. So if you're in Germany, I mean, that'd be like being in Texas and ordering a Model Y and it coming from.
From where you cut out? From Germany?
Oh, yeah. So the people in Germany ordering a Model Y with a white interior and it coming from Fremont or China.
Oh yeah.
Instead of would be like you being next to the plant and ordering it and getting it from Fremont instead of
Right. Instead of from right down
from
the street.
Austin. Yeah. Although in the Texas case, you only have your government to blame for that, not Tesla. Say
That's still insane that they
It
haven't
is.
fixed that. You can't buy a Tesla in Texas.
Protectionist BS. That's what that is. All right, so they began the shutdown on the 11th, and they completed by the 22nd. And they did the single piece front casting. They did the white interior. There's no timeline for when either the single piece front casting or the rear wheel drive or white interiors will enter production. We'll see. It'll just show up one day. Somebody will say, "Hey, I got this," and it'll be awesome. Just like the last time. All right, so then we've got. So I did have a link to what I was talking about with the paint. I thought I heard it in passing. Giga Berlin Paint Shop produces the first Model Ys in Mercury Silver Metallic and Deep Crimson Multicoat. So you might have seen last year or the year before that. I don't remember. Time has become something special with the new normal. Elon was running around with a deep maroon car that was not a signature red, and that one was later determined to be called a Deep Crimson Multicoat, and it would be produced in Berlin. And then we saw the samples of the Mercury Silver Metallic and the blue, which I don't remember what they call it now. And Elon said that this was an advanced paint shop starting in Giga Berlin. And I still don't know if that means that Giga Texas gets any of these advancements or not. But they've seen them now. So let's see, according to Elon Musk, Giga Berlin will have the most advanced paint shop. Yeah, he said that before. Since opening the factory, it's only produced solid black and solid white. Go ahead.
No, I was thinking, so now he's going to have two cars that are both MSM.
Yes.
And it's going to mess everything up.
Well, remember that that Elon doesn't care for new abbreviations, so it's on us for doing that. Yeah, because he actually tells his people if it's not a industry acronym, don't make a new one.
Midnight Silver Metallic is an industry acronym. That's what I call. I guess.
So one will actually be silver, and the other one will be gray.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The paint shop isn't stopping there, and will complete another test with the Abyss Blue. There it is, the Abyss Blue Multicoat in the next few weeks. The color is not produced in this test run, as the factory is still waiting for some supplies to arrive in order to create the new color. The U. I forgot the Canadians were British spellers. As for the other special tests, Giga Berlin conducted this week, there's no timeline for when these new colors will enter production either, but it's likely not to happen until next year. It makes sense. Get them to practice. Tesla sneakily placed a half-covered Model Y in the finished Deep Crimson Multicoat in one part of the factory during the opening. Yeah. I never know which of these will have comments on them. All right, so we talked about Hyundai and their affordable car.
So for Germany, I mean, this is all about paint, which is cool because he's always talked about how the Germany paint shop is going to be so great.
Yeah.
But what I'm concerned about with Germany is what's happening with the Ukrainian war and the Russian energy pipeline shutdown. And they're even talking about decreasing gas use in Europe by 15%. Is that going to affect Tesla's factory in Germany?
Probably. But one would hope that they get their solar array working on that factory as well.
That's going to be a heck of a lot of solar to offset.
Yes.
To offset their actual energy use.
But what better way to prove it works than to be your own customer, even if you
True.
have to use somebody else's parts.
True, but I mean, the solar array on the roof of those buildings is not enough to make cars.
Is it?
I don't think. Is it? Can it be?
They're huge.
I
I mean, look
understand,
at
but it
Austin.
takes a lot of energy to make a car.
Austin is a mile long.
Okay, all right.
That's a lot of panels.
I don't know. If they could actually produce enough energy to have their factories completely energy independent,
Yeah.
why haven't they done it by now?
Well,
that would be.
remember that the Tesla Energy Network puts in more than enough to build all the cars and to drive all the cars ever, all the Tesla cars.
Well, how does that work? I saw that calculation. That they mean the energy the energy from the solar panels that Tesla has deployed.
Correct.
That's including the panels that I bought.
Right. And including
But-
anything that you're sold back, like any of your surplus. They're not counting your usage. Yeah.
All right, that's what I want to know, because it's like, how can you count what I used? That's
Right, because you already used it.
I already used it. You can't use it. So we're just looking at that surplus that I sell back to the grid.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, so that works out.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, but now you've got 2 gigafactories just opened up. You're going to need to add a little more to it. So, but we saw at the beginning of the show that they're part way there with Texas, and in the pictures the renders they showed of Berlin, they had solar on the roof, but I didn't see any in the last aerial shots they showed us.
Okay, well, I want Tesla to show me that can work. They can actually produce enough energy, at least enough surplus energy to run the factory.
Correct. All right, so let's stay in Germany for a minute. Volkswagen CEO Herbert Diess has stepped down.
Diess?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I thought I heard this, but I didn't follow up. That took long enough.
Well, I mean, Elon and him have been friends for a while, and Elon's always been talking nice about him. He's always been talking nice about Tesla. He's been warning Volkswagen that they need to look down the tracks. The stuff is coming, and that's not a light at the end of the tunnel. That's another train. And they didn't want to listen, so they actually removed some of his responsibilities. And he stayed around for a while, and now he's turned in his papers. He's gone, and
this is huge.
It's huge. Yeah,
telling this company for years that it's coming. EVs are coming, and you've got to get your stuff together, or else they will eat your lunch.
right.
I mean, people already BMW. People are buying Model 3s, not 3 Series.
Right.
And the same thing's going to happen with Volkswagen.
And we for this show we've always been kind of cheerleaders of Diess and Farley, because they both get it, and they've both been saying, hey, Tesla's doing this right. We need to do this, and we need to do it better if we want to survive. And how can we lose our place with this new upstart? Let's do it. So my theory, ever since he'd been this complimentary, and then they started to remove his powers, my thought was that, and I'm not the only one. It wasn't like original to me, but like it's one of the ones I've held, is that we'll see him pop up at Tesla.
Think so?
I think so.
Yeah, I've heard that maybe he runs Tesla Germany.
I think more than that. What I think might be cool is if he can be a foil to Elon, same way that Gwen Chatwell is at SpaceX. And he can temper Elon when he is saying too much and being way too ambitious publicly, but also can tell him he needs to step up and do more when he doesn't dedicate enough. Like they're not going as far as they can. Like, for instance, Elon saying, I don't like waypoints. He could have been like, it's done. It's easy. Sorry, Elon. Because Gwen's got him that way a couple times at SpaceX, where he said they'll do something, and then she's like, that's not enough, Elon. We're gonna do more. and then they do. Other times he's like, yeah, we can do this, this, and this, and she's like, hold on now. Yeah,
Yeah, waypoints were the best addition to my car in years.
I love waypoints. Use them all the time.
Constant.
Yeah.
So
The studies show nobody uses waypoints. Elon, nobody has waypoints.
so yeah, I mean, I don't. That would be an interesting position for him. I mean, he's used to being the guy. He runs the company, but now for him to be second fiddle, is that what he would want to do? But I guess he has to work somewhere.
Well, is that? But is he really second fiddle? I mean, he's now running his friend's company.
Mm-hmm.
He already agrees with the man, so
Okay.
I don't know if there's enough trust there. The only question would be, how is he with Elon constantly stepping in to do stuff? Because
Right.
he's gonna keep doing that. He still does it with SpaceX.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my theory, and we'll see what happens with it. But in the meantime, the guy who was his number two over at Porsche is now going to be CEO of Porsche and Volkswagen while Porsche goes through their IPO. And at that point, he'll still be CEO of both companies. But Porsche is going to take a little more attention right now because they're going public.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how
They
that
have
goes.
a couple. Right. Well, I mean, well, they have the Taycan, and then they have I think another like body style of the Taycan coming out. I don't know what it's called, but Porsche seems to be taking going EV pretty seriously. I mean, the Taycan is a pretty serious car. Um, so we'll see what's going on with them.
Yeah. But apparently, he's doing it the way that the Volkswagen family and investors prefer. He's one of the more toe in their line,
Right.
which, if Farley and Dees are right, it means he's going to be steering them a little closer to the rocks than Dees was trying to,
Right. Right.
if not into them.
I mean, because it depends. It depends on how they're looking at it. I mean, their main competition for EVs is Tesla and China.
Yep.
And if they can see how fast can Tesla actually grow. How fast can China actually grow? I mean, Elon was just saying in his earnings call, it all depends on how fast these things can scale. So,
Yeah.
if they're like, well, these companies can only make so many EVs, how much money can we make in gas cars in that time? So, that we really need to grow as fast as Dees and Farley are trying to push us to, or can we just be a little bit more moderate with this?
We'd be lazy. Is it the right thing to do? but see, the thing
I wouldn't agree. I think, of course, I think they should, be going EV 100%.
But that takes effort. If you can do something with no effort and no money, why not keep doing that, even if it kills everybody?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they don't care about the millions of people who are going to die. They don't care. But disruption is just hard. I mean,
it is.
Think about the jobs you're going to lose. You can't. Everything does not switch from ICE to EV. It's just not one to one.
Right.
So it's just going to be so messy in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's never been done before. It's not like, Tesla didn't even do it.
Right.
They started from EV.
Yeah.
No one's ever switched from ICE to EV. So there's no template. There's no model. How do we change this tire? This wheel on a train while it's moving at 200 miles an hour.
Yes. Down the tracks.
Right.
Without getting off.
With all the passengers and and don't mess up drink service.
Don't spill a drink. Yeah. But remember, even if you snap your fingers tonight and all production switches to EVs overnight of everything, like everything just all of a sudden there's no more fossils, it would take 15 years to turn the fleet. So we got to do something now. And that's what all these people are saying, that all these other folks are saying, let's take our time.
Yeah, but I mean, and at the rate we're going now, even if, places like, there's Germany, there's the European countries, there's California carbs that want to make ICE sales, illegal 10 years from now, that's still such a slow transition. I mean, that still would take 50 years to really turn the fleet. Maybe 40 years.
Right. But if you take the easy route and you go slow,
Mhm.
then you might lose out to China.
Right. And
So
there you go.
BYD, a
To
Chinese
bring up your
company.
next order, to bring up your next article, perfect transition.
Yeah. So BYD, a Chinese company, is going to enter the Japanese auto market with 3 EVs. See, they're coming. They're coming. They went to
Right.
Japan. Look at how many automakers are in Japan that could have done and had proper EVs, and now they're being replaced with Chinese.
So
We've
I mean,
had an auto industry for 100 years. They've been telling us they're coming here.
that's really the only way to do it. Is similar to developing countries that did not go to desktop computers. Now
Mhm.
the U.S. did desktops, and now we're going to more mobile. The ones that just didn't even do desktop, straight to mobile.
Yeah,
That's the only way to do it.
yeah.
So
That's why so many developed nations have better cell coverage than some of the Western countries, and
right, because I'm still old
they
school.
skip the landlines.
Right. When it comes to anything that's like big, I still got to go home and do it on my computer. It's like, you're
Yeah.
gonna book a flight. I can't do it on my phone. I'm old school now. But my daughter, everything she just does it on her phone. I'm like, how can you even see the the fields to fill it in?
How can you be sure you got the right discounts?
Right. Exactly. I need a big screen.
Right.
But that's the thing, that other countries, especially China, other countries that want to jumpstart their manufacturing, are just not going to do ICE. It's just going to go straight to EV.
Exactly. And so you're going to have the Atto 3, the Dolphin, and the Seal starting in 2023 on sale in Japan. Then the Dolphin will be next, and the Seal will be in the second half of the year.
Oh, all things that are going to be extinct if we don't switch to
Right.
we don't get to switch to. The only
Oh, man.
dolphins you'll see would be on the road in Japan.
And China. All right, so we talked about lawsuits today, several Tesla lawsuits. Let's look at a Ford lawsuit. Another lawsuit was filed over Ford Mustang Mach-E battery defect. Back in June, Ford recalled the Mach-E over issues with the battery contactors on the. It says contractors, but it's contactors on the vehicle.
Yes.
In specific circumstances, the Mustang Mach-E would become immobile and essentially bricked. The problem was that could happen while you were driving. Yeah. And then you coast to a stop. In response, a group of owners sued Ford, claiming that Ford knew about the problem and had not figured out how to fix it. Now there's a second lawsuit, this time from this company, Hergens Berman Sobel Shapiro, LLP. The new class action suit claims that the vehicles were built with a faulty high voltage main battery connector. Connector or contactor? Definitely not contractor. The suit accuses Ford of selling Ford Mustang Mach-E vehicles that were dangerously defective and prone to complete and partial shutdown while driving, as well as knowingly selling the vehicles with this defect and shifting the risk of this problem to owners. The lawsuit is seeking repayment for owners, including out-of-pocket costs and loss of vehicle value. I'm sorry, that's a Ford Blue issue. You're gonna have to go seek compensation from them. With this though, I didn't see anything like this with the Bolt or the Kia or the Hyundai. Mostly the complaints I saw were that they were lying about the fix, but not that they made it in the first place. Or maybe it just got less news because it wasn't Ford.
Probably that. Ultimately, Ford they haven't recalled them all yet.
No, they haven't recalled them all yet, and
But that's what's going to happen. They're going to have
Yeah.
to do a GM. They got to recall them all and put in a
Yeah.
heftier connector. They went cheap on the connector, and now they're trying to slide by without fixing it. But
Yep.
and while they're in there, they're going to figure out whatever else they went cheap on and fix that too before it breaks.
Right. But it could even be just bad software. I don't think that is though, because the software they did right now just makes it draw less power, just like we saw with the ones that caught fire. Not the Mustangs, but the
It
LG
can't be
packs.
this. I mean, if they make the car where it's able to draw that much power, then the connector should have been able to handle it, and that's it. Now if they
Continuously.
change, what's that?
continuously,
Continuous, yes.
not for 5 seconds.
Right.
So we'll keep an eye on this for you guys, and it'll be one of our little updates that we do because we do the updates.
And so, as much as this sucks, and I hate to see it, it's just that it's just part of the growing pains. And I mean, I get into so many, I read so many comments on Facebook about why these things are reasons why EVs will never work. And people just forget that gas cars, this stuff was worked out 100 years ago.
Mhm.
And we're going through this now. And it doesn't have to take 100 years for EVs to figure this out. We've already figured out how to problem suit these things with gas cars, but we just got to put in the work.
In other cases where they've had 100 years and still don't get it right.
The wheels still fall off.
The wheels still fall off with the Toyota. The 12-volt batteries are still catching fire on the gas cars from BMW around the world. They I do believe they fixed that before COVID, but it was a problem for many years outside of US.
Right. Yeah. So these things are still happening. So we just can't let this imperfection be the enemy of progress.
Exactly. So speaking of suing auto companies, NIO has retained a forensic accounting firm in response to a grisly short seller report. So we've seen a lot of these companies taken down by short sellers that have these awesome reports, like our friends at Nikola, or who was another one with all the Trumpy people at their factory, Lordstown. And who else had a nice little report that didn't look so good?
I'm not sure.
But those are the two big ones, Lordstown and Nikola. There was another large one, and so Nikola is getting out in front of it. They're saying, no, that's not true. Here, look, here's our accounting firm, and it's not the one they were using. It's a different one. It's forensic. So I think that's the right action. It costs money, but I think it's the best way to keep your shareholders comfortable. And if you can prove it was a lie, then you could probably come after these short sellers for slander, depending on your country.
Mm-hmm.
But at the very least, you can release a report reassuring your current and future investors, letting them know that, hey, we're not circling the drain. Here's what's really happening. Those guys are full of poo.
Hmm.
Yep. So here's where they, which is this the report? Yeah, this is the Grizzly report. Oh, that's terrible. Grizzly. This is grisly news for you. You're already predetermined to think this is going to be just awful.
What I think is Grizzly is going to. I should be shorting NIO because I don't see the business model. I know that they think it's there.
Swaps, yeah.
I just don't see it. I don't see. I mean, even if high-rise apartments, maybe, or other stuff like that, where there's just very little space. But if there's a place to put your car, then you can run a wire there, and and that's it. Your car is somewhere, so run a wire.
But see, the cool thing about NIO is swap is optional, whereas with VinFast, you don't own your pack. So
okay,
yeah, I'm curious to see how NIO goes through this, and I'm really excited to see their solid state pack. We'll see.
But and then as the price of batteries drop, I mean, does it get to a point where it's just not economical to lease a battery? I mean, battery tech will just continue to drop. Where
especially if the solid state is for real, if the claims about its degradation level, there will be no point in ever swapping out the battery pack,
right?
Because it won't get old. I mean, it'll have less capabilities than the new one, but it won't have torn itself down there. It will just be like, oh, well, we have 1,000-mile batteries now. What's that old relic? Oh, 200?
1,000 mile? Million mile?
I don't know, whatever.
A lot of miles.
We have mini fusion reactors in our cars.
So yeah, I know. Maybe I should just start short that stock myself. Not that I'm giving any stock advice. This is for me, not for you. Seek your own stock advice from your own personal advisor.
Indeed. So Rimac Navara is ready for sale in the U.S. and they've obtained their EPA and CARB certification.
Yay!
So if you've got a couple $1 million to drop on a on an EV that's really fast and looks pretty and has 4-wheel motors, there you go.
I guess I'm just not impressed with that anymore. It's fine. What would impress me is an EV manufacturer that says we can now make 250,000 EVs per year. If you
Yeah.
can pull that off, you're impressing me. If you can make 8 per year, that's not impressive to me yet.
Yeah. Other than getting those people off of like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff, that part is nice. So we talked about earlier about how Rimac is making structural battery pack.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, of course, having that extreme tech that can run those kind of cars then does trickle down into the lower tier. But I don't know. I just like to think that we're a little bit further along, that we can have more companies that are really pushing to make more EVs, not
Yeah.
just. And I mean, I mean, sure, every gas car does it contribute to climate change, but I don't think we have a big problem with Lamborghinis.
Not too many.
Spewing so much pollution into the air near the schools.
Right.
Less Lamborghinis dropping off kids at schools. The schools, their IQs would go up.
Well, most of them aren't even big enough to ride in the seat because remember
That's right.
it's a 2-seat car. The where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so the racing, the NASCAR thing, if that's true,
Yes.
will help with that because now racing tech is trickling down to production super quick, and you can move it straight from racing to premium. You don't need to go from racing to supercar. Yeah, and then hope that makes its way back out and down. So I think that's another good thing about that. All right, so speaking of batteries, some more. Redwood Materials, this is an older article. It's from June of 2022. Not that old, end of last month. Redwood Materials has partnered with Toyota to recycle old batteries. So remember, Redwood is J.B. Strobel, right?
Of course.
Former Tesla CTO. And
I've had to share links to his website many times on Facebook because everyone keeps saying all the landfills are going to be filled with batteries.
But yeah, people are really going to be throwing away tens of thousands of dollars. No, thank you.
And at the same breath, they said it costs $10,000 to replace the battery.
Yeah.
Wait, you're going to throw away a $10,000 battery and then spend $10,000 to? No, dummy. That's not what's going to happen.
Right.
So I just keep asking them. I don't know, how do you recycle your gas? But they haven't answered that one for me yet. But
they don't answer that, and then I guess they think that they're all like alkalines. You throw them in the landfill, but look at their existing car. It has a battery, and what do? 97% of them are recycled because it's lead.
Right. So yeah,
so
now they're going to
inconvenient fact for them.
Right. So now we're going to be recycling the Prius battery. So that's cool.
Yeah. And on top of that, not just the Prius, but all the Toyota batteries. On top of that, Panasonic, who also makes Prius batteries, but also the batteries for the S and the X, and in partnership at the Gigafactory with for the Model 3 and Y, and they've already provided samples of 4680s to Tesla as well. So anyway, they had partnered in January with Redwood Materials to supply Giga Nevada with recycled materials.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not there yet, but imagine the idea that Elon and JB put forward, that this can be completely closed loop. All the transportation can be, maybe not 100%, but 90, approaching 90% closed loop, where every old car makes the new car.
Where do you mine your lithium and nickel? Oh, in the old batteries over there in that pile.
We don't need to make any more. We have enough.
Exactly. Eventually. So speaking of Redwood, yet again, Redwood Materials has agreed to recycle EV batteries from Volkswagen and Audi.
Keep adding manufacturers.
Yeah. So congrats to Redwood on cornering the market on recycled EV batteries.
They probably didn't have to work very hard to do. I imagine these companies came begging them, please take our batteries.
Yeah. Hey, we don't want to run this program anymore. You're already doing it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so Redwood will then be able to recover more than 95% of battery metals, including nickel, cobalt, lithium, and copper. Those materials will be used to remanufacture anode and cathode components and supplied back to the U.S. EV battery cell manufacturers. So, as Elon was saying, and as they already do with lead, lead is 97% recycled. So only 2% off. Not bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we don't. So is that why we don't hear about all the young kids dying in those lead mines?
Right. Yeah. So Redwood is building a facility capable of producing 100 gigawatt hours of batteries per year by the end of 2025, enough to recycle 1.3 million EV batteries per year. Wow. They're gonna have to make more because they're gonna need more than that. But congrats, guys. That's a lot of contracts you got right there in just 1 year. Because not one of them had a different year than 2022.
We got 1.3 million per year is what they're getting to now. But we're only building what? Elon, they just finished building their 2 millionth Tesla, and they're building what? They are just over 1 million a year now.
Right. So I did the math for David, and they were at like 1.9 million per year. So the 2.2 that David predicted for this year is not that far off, and I can see them being at the 2.2 million rate by the close of the year.
So you're saying 2.2 for all EVs, all companies?
Tesla.
Wait. 2.2 this
million.
year?
Rate. Yeah.
Okay.
This year they're already over 1 million, but I don't see them because they lost some time there.
Right. So they're going to get over 1 million this year, but not at 2 million.
Right. That's how I feel about it. But they could still surprise us if both Berlin and Texas come online fully with the structural pack and their 2170s and they're just gangbusters. They could pull the rabbit out of this hat.
And you do what? And deliver 2 million?
Yes.
That would be nuts. That would be nuts. So, but back to the question though, is that 10 years from now, what do you see as the lifespan of these cars when these batteries start hitting?
So the early ones were built for a 12-year longevity, but remember the electric longevity is considered different than mechanical longevity. So we're looking at 12 years, probably to 70-80%, and that's Tesla, Chevy, Nissan clearly didn't get there.
Air cooling works.
Yeah. So I suspect that it will probably be until then before we start to see any of them come through that aren't from crashes, that aren't from people who didn't upgrade to a bigger pack. And so then we've got 2012 plus 12, so 2024 we might see the first couple ones hit that.
I wonder how these cars, how would they actually hit end of life? I just drive my car and I guess I would just drive my car till the battery's at 60%. And I'm like, I'm just done with this.
I can afford to charge this thing every trip.
Right.
I got time. I don't got time for that.
So then I go to sell it to CarMax, and CarMax doesn't even put it on the lot. They just send it straight to the broker, and then the broker sends it sells it for scrap.
For parts, yep. But
okay.
You've also got that's the old cars, the 2012s. So remember this year when we saw Sandy struggling with the structural pack, Elon was talking about a 1 million mile pack. Maybe not that one. That one's probably only a couple 100,000 miles, but still more than any normal person would keep the car for. So you're looking at 750,000 to 2 million miles on that battery pack. That's many years.
The car's going to outlive me. 1 million miles. I gotta look back. I don't think I've driven a car. My cumulative driving is not 1 million miles yet.
Right. So I'm over 1 million, but I don't know if I'm anywhere near 2 million.
Let me see.
I
only had like 7 cars at 100,000 per mile. Getting close to about 1 million, but
so if you were a 15K a year driver, it would take you 133.33 repeating years to hit the 2 million miles on that battery pack.
All right, not gonna make that one.
If you were a 30K mile a year driver, you'd hit it in 66.6 repeating years. And if you're a strange freak like me who does 50K miles in a year sometimes,
Okay, you drive a lot.
not lately, it would still take me 40 years. And I accidentally had an extra zero in there for a second, and it would take you 4 years if you drove 500,000 miles a year.
So yeah, no, at 20,000 miles per year, it'll take me 50 years to hit 1,000,000 miles.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not there yet.
Right. And I was doing the 2 million miles at that point. So
that's nuts. I mean, and if you
Yeah.
figure a person gets their first car, I mean, it depends on when you get your first car. If you just had 20, get your
But
car at 20. Some
if you're
people
at
live younger.
if you're at the 60-year rate, I mean, unless your
That's
car
it.
is fully self-driving, that's your car.
Right. Well, you're gonna have to replace the seats before the battery.
Well, hopefully these things are built with right to repair in mind, or at least repairability in mind, even if it's not right to repair. But what will probably happen at that point is, as our friend Travis says, it'll be bread boxes. We won't own our personal cars, and it'll be somebody else's problem.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's so yeah, but back to that point of when are we going to have enough cars in their duty cycle to where 1,000,000.3 is not enough. That's not enough capacity to handle the cars coming off. I mean, of course, as this happens, they'll build more capacity. But
Well, I would go back to when we first got 1.3 million EVs on the road, add 10 years just to be safe, and then that would actually had 12 years since that's what they built for.
mhm.
And you better have your production by then.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying. But then at the same time, don't overbuild, because when these longer batteries hit the pipeline, what are you going to do when they stop coming in?
Right.
And you're opening new plants.
Where are the batteries? They're on the street, dude.
Exactly.
But
Go run into them. Go crash into them so they have something to do. Go ahead.
It depends on what batteries are costing them. But if my car hits 60%, I mean, I'm still looking at where's my calculator? I got a 75 kilowatt hour battery.
Yeah.
Times 0.6. That's still 45 kilowatts. That's still more energy than my house uses in 2 days.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe there'll be somebody who would just take my body, sell that for scrap, and then take my battery, repackage it, and hang it on the wall, or stick it in my backyard for me.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know how
it
much
could be both, depending on if the used car prices stay high enough. It might be worth putting in a new battery pack, especially if Tesla lets MCU3 get up in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. Well, they just stick a new battery pack in, but I still want my old one. I still want somebody to repackage my old one and hang it in my garage.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to do a core return with Tesla then, because they're going to be sending it to Redwood,
Right.
or dumping it in that machine like they do with the wheels. All right, so Rivian has a new OTA update coming later this summer for camp mode, which when I saw the picture, I thought that was just something else, because there's no connection between that tent and the truck. It's sitting on the rails. There's no connection. But from the text of the article, it sounds like they are borrowing the Tesla camp mode, where it keeps the AC on and everything. I think that's pretty cool. Why not? Do it up.
They have to. Yeah.
Yeah. Every EV should have this feature. I had to invent it on my Model S and on my Volts. I would put them in neutral and lock them and put the brake on, and they would go for hours till the battery ran low. Yeah.
Cool.
Not that there's much room for camping in a Volt 4 seats. So I showed you a solar trailer from Tesla. How about a battery trailer from Lightning Motors? And so they've unveiled their second generation portable DC fast charger with 420 kilowatt hours of capacity. I think I should combine this with the solar trailer and build it with my dad, and then we sell these out. Yeah, DC fast charging everywhere. So they've unveiled their latest generation, and it's going to support commercial and consumer EVs. It better support commercial, because that's what Lightning Motors makes. They make EV conversions, but because they convert them as brand new, and they are classed as a manufacturer, they can convert them with the new sales certificate. So even though it's a Ford or whatever, say say you get a GM truck from them. GM's already out of the tax credits, but they're a manufacturer of their own, so you can get your Lightning Motors credit anyway, which is really cool.
So how many? It's 420 kilowatts,
Kilowatt hours.
kilowatt hours. Huh. But then that'll charge what? If you got a 75, that'll get you only 5 or 6
So-
charges for a 75 kilowatt hour battery.
So if you get a bunch of plaids roll through, you can charge 4 of them.
Well, if they only need half a charge, then you can get 8 of them.
This is true.
So I'm trying to figure out the use case for this because I'm gonna try to make it down to the Tesla takeover at San Luis Obispo,
Yeah.
but you've got 500 Teslas there, and we can charge 8 of them. That's not
Right.
going to be very useful.
You do better off with the Megapack / destination charger equipped trailer for that. So for those who aren't aware, there's a semi trailer, 53 foot, and it's got a container. It's just a Megapack. It's in a container. Or the Megapack is a container, but anyway, there it is. And then all around the edges of the trailer are all these
Right.
Tesla destination chargers at 72 kilowatts, and that would do the trick because then you're storing megawatt hours, not kilowatt hours.
Right. Okay. Now we're talking. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I would imagine. I mean, you certainly wouldn't want to get a full charge on that. You just want to get enough to get everybody 75 miles, just enough to get you to the next supercharger. If we're all at this event, and people start running low,
Get them
let's
to
at least
disperse.
right. Let's get
Yes.
you to the supercharger and then get you home.
Yeah. So, and then they have a contract with GM already. Look at that. We've discussed that same contract with GM on the show a couple times too. They began offering general purpose EVs on their own platform earlier this year. Integration of autonomous, blah blah blah. Their first generation portable DC charger debuted in 2020, but it was designed to be installed inside a vehicle or trailer to make it mobile. But for how large it was, the portable charger only carried 192 kilowatt hours of battery storage. Wow, that's quite low for all the space it takes up. Because when you think about it, the Hummer EV has a 200 kilowatt hour pack, and it's smaller than that. Wow. And I imagine it's a lot easier to make one of these CCS chargers that runs on DC than it is one that runs on AC and has to be bolted to the ground. Because at that point, it's just regulating the energy coming out. It's not having to do the conversion.
Right.
So today they unveiled the next-gen portable charger, as we saw on the top of the article. It's not only smaller and more modular, but also can deliver significantly higher capacity on the go. So they went from that to that.
Okay.
No, not that. That's the old one too, because this is the new one.
I'm still trying to think of a use case for this.
See if these people found one.
Okay.
Man, I need something like this as a generator.
No, actually, that picture made sense. Maybe charging your boat.
Oh, or a boat, yes. So this guy wants to use it to power his power events and film shoots. There you go. Tired of diesel generators, yes. But that's too high power because these are DC fast chargers. Missing from the article is how this is charged. I'm thinking it might be using fossil fuel generators, but does it charge from the grid? AC level 2 up to 19.2 or DC up to 80? That'd be cool if it's a bidirectional DC charger. Like you can just go to any other charger and pay and fill it up and then go take it where you need it and then discharge it.
Well, that's what I thought it was, that you would charge it from the grid and then take it to where it needs to be, just like a big battery.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big battery. It needs solar to operate, to maintain it off-grid area. Yes, that's what I suggested there. Looks like a potential rescue vehicle for EVs out of juice. That's possible. It seems expensive for that. DC fast charge, assume 50 kilowatts. Should provide 20 to 30% of range in 30 minutes. If it's only 50, yeah. But 50 only is so old now that it might not be... it might be more expensive to buy a 50 than it would be to buy a 100 or a 150. Curious about how much demand there is, so that one agrees with you. I expect events like county fairs will use them, but as you said, only 8 cars. Better than walking by a generator, yes, but it's too big for that. Too powerful. You could run the whole event off of it. Like, hey, here, plug it in the stadium.
That would be useful.
Yeah.
Until one person charges their EV and takes all the power.
Right. So this one is one I was going to bring up later in the show, but since it scrolled in on its own, Ford is testing a robotic EV charger to assist disabled, elderly, and less mobile drivers. So snake charger, anyone? Sounds like you're saying, Farley and Deese keep copying Tesla and to good effect. So get another one. Except that this one is actually available for customers, even if it's not available for all customers, unlike the snake charger, which seems to have disappeared.
Mhm.
Let's see. So it'll use cameras, and it'll locate your charge port, open the flap, and it'll unplug itself and let you go on your way. Disabled drivers have already identified ease of charging compared to traditional gas station as a key motivator for EV purchase. That's just regular EVs that they got to get out and deal with themselves, not these automated ones. In addition to testing out the robotics to support less mobile drivers, the automaker is using research to develop other hands-free charging solutions. It's pretty cool.
So that's pretty cool. So yeah, disabled persons already prefer charging their EV over getting gas. And then this would just make it that much easier.
Here we go. Won't you click? Oops, sorry.
Mhm.
I was hoping they'd be done with the music by then. All right, so she's got a wheelchair. We don't see the robot doing this thing. We just see it connected. See her
Right.
charging. We still see her charging, but she's wheeling off. And then they switch to the e-transit. Okay. There were no comments on that? Oh, yeah, there you go. 19 comments.
But that's what I'm waiting for autonomous. Man, when you got an autonomous
absolutely.
car that can then charge on its own, we're done.
Yeah. And then this guy is one of those militant anti-car people. Or we could make our cities safer for pedestrians, folks on bicycles, and public transit. Seems we have an issue with accessibility, not on car ownership. Goes to show automakers will do anything to sell you a car. North America is not set up for mass public transit yet. So because it's not perfect, these people need to suffer and stay at home? No, that's not the answer. Let them participate. And then we can work our way to less car ownership, less car-centric cities. It's not a snap your fingers and it happens situation. So everybody can participate until then. Come on, guy. Yeah, like Kevin just said the same thing. Why can't it be both? Pie in the sky dreaming that one solution is the most likely to happen quickly enough is short-sighted. Let's see what Mr. Militant Anti-Car says. Each community, town, city, and regional governments have responsibility to provide. Yes, they do, but they don't, and they're not built for it. So again, unless you can snap your finger and redesign every town in America, it's not going to happen as quickly as we want. And the automakers, yes, they can try, but again, if they don't do it, somebody else will do it and collect that money. They're businesses. It's like, what do you expect them to do? I saw somebody complaining at the guy who does the power washing of driveways and sidewalks and stuff, and they were complaining at him. They said, "You're just in it for the money." And the guy said, "I'm sorry for giving the misinterpretation that I'm not in this for the money." While I do like to do a good job, I'm doing the good job for the money. Oh, snap. As business owners, we can appreciate that.
I'm in this for the money.
My family's got to eat, though.
But for some reason, you have to make it look like you want to do it for free.
Right. I may like doing it, but I mean, if you don't pay me, I'm not going to do this for free.
I'm not going to do this.
And that looks sweaty and hot, and people complaining, "Hey, you missed a spot of that dirt." No. Let's see. So yeah, I'm done with the comments for now. Let's move on to the next thing. So remind me to skip the Ford robot when we get to it. So then Tesla made this announcement. Remember, we just said that they were, somehow the best of the EV makers at service. They're now aiming for same-hour service on all of their vehicles. And my notes in the show notes were gonna need to work on parts availability for this. They do have a lot of parts on hand, and they do decent with the availability, but There are other places where they fall off a cliff. You can look at in my South Carolina town all the cars that have been at the collision center for over a year waiting on parts. And I ordered a extra emergency release button for my frunk, and I actually ordered 2 of them. One was on the shelf, and one was nebulous. I'm glad you had the one on the shelf, but then what if I was the second person who needed one behind the first person, who was also me? That second one wouldn't be getting done, would it?
Nope.
So I wish them well, not just as a Tesla owner, but that would work well for other people as well. So one of my first trips with the Model S into the Charlotte Service Center, they pulled my car in and a timer started. I asked the tech, what's that timer about? Not the tech, I asked the service writer what the timer was about. And he said that because I was in for my 2-year service, it should take this amount of time, and if they are not done by the time the timer reaches 0, then they have retraining to do. So they've been with this concept for a long time. Elon's been saying this for, not the 1 hour thing, but he's been saying, we need to model Formula One. We need to model Formula One. He's been saying this for years, because I haven't driven that Model S in over 4 years now. So, and as I said, they were still treating us like kings in service by then. So that tells you how long ago it was. Before my Model 3 was built. Yeah, so I'm not going to hold my breath, because this is another case of Elon saying something that makes sense and that he thinks should be simple. Let's just see how close they get to it, and what it looks like. If they get an hour and a half for everything, that would be sharp. And as long as they also don't try and say, oh, well, now that we can get everything done in an hour, you don't need mobile service anymore. Or, hey, you need to pay $100 for mobile service to show up. Or you need to pay $20 a mile for mobile to show up. Yes, both of those used to happen. I did do the $100 for mobile to show up once, because it was cheaper than the time off work for me to go at the $100. But the multiple dollars a mile, I couldn't afford that. So I took a day off and drove up to the service center.
How far is your service center?
The one here is 45 minutes, but the one from my house is 4 hours.
Yikes!
Yeah. They have a closer one now. I don't know how far that is. Let me pull up a map here and type in my home address, and let's see, maps. Yeah, fine. I'll do it on Google. My home address. Not the one they think I live at. All right, yeah, from there, directions. That's a beautiful picture of my house with no cars and with the solar roof on it. Not solar roof, but the solar panels, I should say. And let's go to the Tesla service. And then let's flip it around. All right, so now it will take me, when I get back, it'll take me 2 hours and 30 minutes to get to service instead of 4 hours. And then 2 hours
nice
back.
Improvement.
Right. Half the time. And this isn't Tesla's fault. This is because South Carolina is a backwards protectionist state, just like Texas, where it's illegal for Tesla to sell or service the vehicles in their jurisdiction. So what Tesla does, you've got mobile service, which they didn't pay enough to retain the guy, and then you've got North Carolina and South Carolina. So or North Carolina and Georgia. So I moved from going to the middle of North Carolina to going to the edge of Georgia. Yes.
That sucks.
Small business, states' rights, all that stuff. Yeah, sure, but not what they're chanting. It's actually the opposite. Small government. Small government. No, we want the government to decide our winners and losers. I'm sorry.
In the pocket of the franchise dealers.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm complaining about hypocrisy in politics.
There's none of that.
Well, like I said, Lindsey Graham would always tell me to go pound sand whenever I told him he was hurting my small businesses.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised to actually get a complimentary letter from the senators when I sent this one for Starlink. I'm so used to them first misgendering me and then second just insulting me. And it was a welcome change. It's like, whoa, this is what it's like when you actually vote for somebody. I don't even think I actually voted for the guy. He was either already there when I got here, or or my place didn't get him. But
What letter did you send about Starlink?
that I didn't want them being interfered with by Dish Network.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, because I pay too much for my backup connection to be not a backup connection. People will get hurt
Mhm.
because I won't be able to do my job.
Right.
I mean, I'd love it to be another job, but right now that's what it is. So this is a business, yo. Speaking of it being a business, thanks again to High Voltage and EV Smoke, High Voltage and Performance Racing Team for their generous donation, and for all of our channel members like Dawood and our patrons. And we'll catch you on the flip side.